My name is Gracie, and I'm 27 years old. I work as both a housewife and an office worker with a good position. My husband, Aaron, is the same age as me. He loves his mother a lot, and his mother, Eliza, enjoys making my life difficult. Despite the struggles in our marriage, Aaron and I just celebrated our second anniversary. I'm proud of how much I've been able to handle, and work has become my escape. Because of that, I've been getting promoted quickly, which isn't something many women experience. Right now, I'm on a business trip across Europe for meetings. I'm in the middle of an important meeting when my phone, which was on silent, started vibrating. I thought it might be an emergency because there were 2 missed calls. When I checked my phone, I saw that the calls were from my mother-in-law, Eliza. What's going on? I wondered. I hope nothing bad happened. I quickly decided to return the call. Just as I was about to leave the meeting to do that, my phone rang again, and it was Eliza. Hello, Gracie, where are you? She asked. I answered the call, but she sounded annoyed. Maybe I shouldn't have picked up, I muttered. Hello, Eliza, how are you? Is there something urgent? Why aren't you answering me? I just asked where you are, she snapped. I felt irritated by her tone, but I didn't want to argue because of the important meeting I was in. I calmly said, sorry, didn't Aaron tell you? I'm in a meeting on a business trip. Can I call you back when I'm done? She responded, of course Aaron told me, but why are you leaving your house and husband? Come back home right now. Her sudden and unreasonable demand threw me off. I'm sorry, Eliza, but I'm in the middle of an important meeting and I can't just. She cut me off, saying, you're so bossy, even though you're just Aaron's wife. I don't care about your reasons. Come back home now. Today is really important. Do you understand? Today is important? I asked, confused. I wanted to know what made today so special, so I asked her. We're celebrating my 60th birthday today, Eliza replied, sounding proud. I thought her birthday was supposed to be at the end of the month, and it was strange that she wanted to celebrate on a weekday while I was away on a business trip. Aaron and I had already planned a special celebration at a restaurant for her 60th birthday. I was getting really tired of Eliza trying to control me again. It felt like every year she was getting worse, especially when she knew I was busy with important work. So, I told her. As I said before, I'm on a business trip, so I can't come home right now. Oh, really? Because I called Aaron earlier, and he said he'd take the day off for me. All the relatives will be there, except for you. You're always working. You're so cold. What do you think of your husband's parents? She said sarcastically. I didn't want to deal with her anymore. I had an important meeting, so I just said, I'm sorry, but I can't come to your 60th birthday celebration, no matter what you say. Eliza stopped being sarcastic and took a deep breath. Then she said, well, if that's the case, I won't recognize you as family. Don't bother coming home. It's over. Aaron deserves better than you. She said all this without stopping to take a breath. I was angry and upset, but I didn't want to keep arguing with her on the phone. I said, okay, I'll talk to you when I get home. I'm sorry, but I really have to go. Then Eliza said, what's with that attitude? I told you not to come back. I'll talk to Aaron myself. And she hung up. I was exhausted from dealing with her and went back to my meeting. After 2 days of meetings, I finally returned home. I was so angry that I didn't even remember how I got there. When I opened the door, I heard Aaron's tired voice saying, welcome back. I took off my heels and went straight to the living room, where I saw a pile of boxes. I was confused until I saw Aaron taping them up. What's with the boxes? I asked. He told me that they were all of my things. Aaron explained that Eliza really had her 60th birthday celebration on the day she called me. She told the family I was rude to her over the phone and that I didn't care about her birthday. Then she told everyone that she was going to make Aaron divorce me and send me back to my parents' house because I wasn't good enough for him. I wasn't surprised by this. Eliza had always been this way. I asked Aaron, so what happened? Your mom told you to get a divorce, and you agreed? No, not exactly, but she told me to pack your things, and I didn't have any choice, Aaron answered with a sigh. I was shocked. Wait, you didn't argue with your mom? You're okay with getting a divorce? Aaron explained that his dad, Alex, also told him, if Eliza's upset, you'll have a hard time, so listen to her. So Aaron just went along with the divorce. I couldn't believe it. Aaron seemed so controlled by his mom, and I couldn't understand why he didn't stand up for me. I was in shock and silent for a moment. Then Aaron said, What my mom says is the final word. It's just until she's not upset anymore. It's just a fake divorce. I'll come back for you once things settle down. He said this with pleading eyes. I couldn't believe how afraid he was of his mother. I started to feel disgusted with myself for marrying him, but then I thought, maybe this was a good opportunity. If I stayed with Aaron, Eliza would keep tormenting me, and I'd always be pressured to get a divorce. Maybe it was a blessing in disguise. I had my own income and could support myself just fine. I didn't need Aaron or his family. In that moment, it was like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I looked at Aaron and said, "Fine, let's get a divorce." I then called Eliza. After a few calls, she answered. "Hello?" she said, and I calmly replied, "As you wish, we're getting a divorce." Eliza sounded happy and replied excitedly, "Yes, finally, you realized you're not good enough for Aaron. Don't worry, I'll find him a better, more obedient wife who'll listen to me." Eliza kept going on with her sarcasm, saying things like, "Aaron will be in high demand, and I'll take care of my son until he finds his next wife, so don't worry about that." After all her remarks, I calmly told her, "Don't misunderstand me, Mother." She was in a good mood and replied, "Oh, aren't you just a sore loser? Don't worry about it." Then she added, "By the way, Gracie, I've got the divorce papers from the city office and gave them to Aaron. Don't forget to sign them." She hung up without saying goodbye. Aaron, who had been listening to our conversation, looked relieved. I couldn't believe how naive Aaron was, so I asked him, "Does your mother know you're a full-time house husband?" He replied, "How could I tell her that? My mom is all about the fact that I work for a big company." I realized that Aaron had never told Eliza the truth about his job. At home, he wore a shabby sweatshirt, but whenever he met Eliza, he dressed in a suit, and when Eliza called during the day, Aaron pretended not to be home, making it look like he was working. Eliza had told everyone at her 60th birthday that Aaron was such a good son, taking time off work just to celebrate with her. She also said that if Aaron wanted, he could easily find a more obedient and prettier wife than me. But I knew that after our divorce, all of this would come to light. Eliza, who thought her son was perfect, would never suspect that Aaron had quit his job a year ago. Aaron had made a huge mistake at work, which led to a written apology, demotion, and pay cut. He probably didn't tell Eliza about it because he knew she would be furious. Since Eliza spoiled Aaron, he became weak and easily upset. When he had to face the consequences of his mistake, he couldn't handle it. He called in sick at first, but eventually, he just stopped showing up to work and got fired. Now, Aaron was relying on my income and had no intention of finding a new job. He hadn't told Eliza the truth, because he was too scared of her reaction. I almost wished I could see how shocked she would be when she found out, but it wasn't my problem anymore. Aaron handed me the divorce papers and said, "This is just a cover to convince my mom." I signed them, moved into my new apartment, and started a new chapter. A month later, Eliza called me again. I was surprised, but I answered, "What do you want now? Aren't you happy you got rid of me?" She responded the same way as always, asking about Aaron. After I left, she went to his apartment several times to do housework, but every time, Aaron was just lying around in his room, not working. She asked me if I knew what was going on. I tried not to laugh and said, I see. Well, of course, Aaron has no plans to work again." Eliza, as if forgetting she was the one who kicked me out, asked, "Gracie, can you do something about it?" I couldn't believe she was asking me for help after everything she'd put me through. I answered, "Why should I? You didn't want me in your family, remember?" It was typical of her to only ask for help when it suited her, after treating me so badly for so long. Eliza then said, "Well, I was wondering if you said something to Aaron before you left." I couldn't believe how much she wanted to blame me for everything. Did she really not see the problem with her son, Aaron, and just blame me? I was the one who had been hurt in all of this. She accused me of marrying Aaron for money, thinking I was upset about the divorce because I lost out on a luxurious life. "Are you kidding me?" I responded. "I supported Aaron financially during our marriage. I was the one paying for everything. If anyone should be upset, it's me." I thought about filing for alimony from Aaron, since he had money, but I didn't say anything to her about it. Eliza, shocked, argued, "How dare you make something like that up?" Then she said, "You just forgot to ask for alimony, didn't you? Aaron makes more money than you. If you want money, he can pay whatever you want." She still thought of Aaron as a big shot, working at a major company. I realized maybe she didn't know the truth about Aaron's situation. This could be my chance to get back at her, so I told her, "Your son is a full-time house husband. He quit his job a long time ago." She couldn't believe me. She yelled, "What? You're lying." I just said, "Why don't you check with the company? You'll see who's telling the truth." Eliza was quiet for a moment before saying, "Well, if that's true, what are we going to do? I can't take care of Aaron with just my pension. No one will marry him because he's unemployed. What are we going to do?" Her voice was more desperate now, and it felt good to hear. I smiled to myself. She paused, then started talking to someone next to her. After a moment, she said, "Gracie, will you please come home?" I was confused by her sudden change of tone and replied, "No, we're divorced. I wouldn't come back to your family if the world turned upside down." Then I heard someone nearby, probably her, getting upset. It sounded like they were arguing. "I told you I would come get you back when things cool down," Eliza said. As I listened, I could hear Aaron's voice shouting in the background. Yes, you could remarry my son, you know." "What are you talking about?" I heard Eliza respond, incredulously. "No way, I wouldn't do it for the world. Don't joke about this, Gracie, thank you, seriously, okay?" I couldn't believe how much she was still trying to manipulate me. I reminded her, "I did what you told me to do, so stop changing your mind so much." She was trying to make it seem like I had no right to refuse her demands. I was fed up with her mind games. "I didn't think you'd actually divorce my son," Eliza finally admitted, her voice betraying her shock. In response, I let her have it. I was just putting up with everything. Besides, Aaron packed up my stuff and kicked me out without any say in it. I went off on her, listing all the ways she had mistreated me. "You see, that was just a prank," she said, trying to brush everything off. I couldn't hold it in any longer. "A prank? It's worse than that," I snapped. I was done with her games. As I looked at my watch, realizing it was almost 1 p.m. and my lunch break was ruined, I finally said, Eliza, are you done now?" "What, Gracie, what did you say?" She cooed in that sugary sweet voice of hers, hoping I'd fall for her charm. But I was over it. "I'm going to hang up now. I have another meeting in a few minutes. I need to go over some documents," I said coldly. As I pulled the phone away from my ear, I could hear her still yelling, Wait, Gracie, hey, Gracie, say something." Her frantic screams only made me more disgusted. She was always blaming someone else when things didn't go her way. I was done listening. Without a second thought, I hit the end call button and blocked her number. No more of her toxic behavior. After everything that had happened, Aaron contacted me, trying to get back together. He was persistent, but I saw it as an opportunity. I decided to ask my lawyer to help me with alimony. Given how quickly Aaron's family paid up the full amount, I suspected they had advanced the money for him. Apparently, my ex-parents-in-law, Alex and Eliza, were not happy with Aaron's situation. They constantly nagged him to find a job, but Aaron had become so fed up with their constant pressure. It seemed his former elite life had faded away. He couldn't even afford the rent for his apartment and had to return to his parents' house. Now, he was blaming them for the divorce, while they, in turn, blamed him for everything. Instead of taking responsibility, they seemed content to lash out at each other. I heard they were considering applying for welfare soon. If that happens, maybe the government will step in and attempt to correct their warped sense of entitlement and selfishness. As for me, life had taken a better turn. My proposal from the business trip was accepted, and I signed a major contract. This led to a promotion and a significant salary increase. I was living my best life as a rich, independent bachelorette, free from any toxic in-laws or dependent family members. If I ever consider marriage again in the future, you can bet I'll be doing a thorough background check. No more husbands who adore their mothers or families who think they can control me. I've learned my lesson.
The first sign something was wrong came from Instagram. I was scrolling through my feed, double-tapping photos of perfectly plated dishes, when I saw it. Raylan's latest post, a familiar-looking dessert at Le Bernardin, topped with a distinctive chocolate work I'd recognize anywhere. The same dessert Harlan had claimed to eat alone at his business dinner 3 nights ago. I'm Zella, and as a food photographer and chef, I notice details others might miss. The way chocolate curls catch the light, The precise angle of a fork against bone china, the telltale signs of a shared dessert, with 2 spoons carefully placed just so. My thumb hovered over the image. The timestamp matched. My stomach churned as I clicked through to Raylin's story, finding nothing but her usual carefully curated posts. But there it was, the edge of a man's watch in one frame. Harlan's watch, the one I'd given him for our 5th anniversary. "Hey babe," I called out, keeping my voice steady. "Did you run into Raylin at Le Bernardin the other night?" Harlan looked up from his laptop, his pause a fraction too long. "What? No. Why would you think that?" I watched his face, cataloging every micro-expression like I would the components of a complex dish. The slight twitch at the corner of his mouth, the way his eyes didn't quite meet mine. "Just wondering. She posted about being there the same night as your dinner. Must have been a coincidence," he said, turning back to his screen. "Big restaurant, lots of people." I nodded, already pulling up my phone's tracking app, the one we'd installed years ago, to share our locations, back when we actually cared about each other's safety. There it was, his location history, perfectly overlapping with Raylin's Instagram posts, not just at Le Bernardin, but at dozens of places over the past few months. "I'm heading to the studio," I said, gathering my camera bag. "Got that shoot for the new bistro on 7th. He barely looked up. "Have fun." Instead of going to my studio, I drove to Raylin's apartment building. My best friend of 15 years, the maid of honor at my wedding, the woman who'd held my hand through my father's funeral. Her car was parked in its usual spot, and right next to it, Harlan's BMW. I sat there for an hour, watching. When they emerged together, his hand on the small of her back, their quick kiss before parting ways, I didn't feel the explosion of rage I'd expected. Instead, a cold, calculated clarity washed over me. That evening, I prepared dinner as usual. Harlan came home late, claiming traffic was terrible. "How was your shoot?" he asked, loosening his tie. I plated his favorite pasta dish, the one I'd perfected during our honeymoon in Italy. "Actually, I've been thinking about hosting a dinner party. It's been ages since we've had everyone over." "Oh?" He took a bite, closing his eyes in appreciation. "What's the occasion?" "No occasion. Just missing our friends. I thought we could invite the usual crowd. Jonah, Marcus, and Kate." I twirled pasta around my fork. "Raylin, of course." He coughed slightly. "Sounds nice. When were you thinking?" "Next Saturday? I'll handle everything. You know how I love planning these things." "Sure, whatever you want." He smiled, reaching for his wine glass. I watched him drink, already mentally crafting the menu for what would be my most important dinner service yet. Each course would tell a story, our story. From the first bite to the last, I would serve them all a taste of their own betrayal. Later that night, I called my sister Elena. "You're being awfully calm about this," she said, after I told her everything. "What good would screaming do?" I stirred honey into my tea, watching it dissolve. "They think they're so clever, sneaking around, sharing desserts, playing their little game. Fine, let's play." "Zella, I'm not going to poison anyone, if that's what you're worried about." I laughed softly. "I'm just going to serve them exactly what they deserve. A perfectly planned, expertly executed dinner party where every single detail matters." And then what? I thought about the way Raylin had hugged me last week, complimenting my new haircut while wearing the perfume I'd bought her for Christmas. About how Harlan still kissed me goodbye each morning, tasting of lies and her lipstick. Then they'll learn what happens when you betray someone who knows how to turn a simple dinner into an unforgettable experience. I sipped my tea, already composing the guest list in my mind. You know what they say. Revenge is a dish best served in courses. Just be careful, Alina sighed. Don't let this consume you. Trust me, I said, opening my recipe journal to a fresh page. This will be my finest work yet. I began to write, each ingredient carefully chosen, each course designed to slowly, exquisitely unravel their carefully constructed deception. By the time I finished planning, the sun was rising, and I had crafted the perfect menu for their last supper, as respected members of our social circle. You're going full Gone Girl on them, aren't you? Alina sat cross-legged on my kitchen counter, watching me sort through old photographs. Please, Amy Dunn was unhinged. I'm just being thorough. I held up a photo from 3 summers ago. Harlan, Raylan, and me at the Hamptons. Their body language was obvious now, the way they stood slightly too close, how his hand barely brushed her waist. Found anything interesting? I spread the photos across my marble countertop. Oh, plenty. Look at this one. I handed her a picture from Ray Lynn's birthday last year. See how they're the only ones not looking at the cake? They're looking at each other. God, they weren't even trying to hide it, were they? They thought they were clever. I pulled out my phone, showing her the guest list. What do you think about the seating arrangement? Alina scrolled through the names. Jonah next to Raylan. That's cruel. You know he had a thing for her. Has. And he's also the most observant person we know. He'll pick up on every little detail. My phone buzzed. A text from Ray Lynn. Can't wait for Saturday. Need me to bring anything? The audacity, Alina muttered, reading over my shoulder. I typed back, just yourself. Though maybe wear that blue dress you got last month, the one you wore to Le Bernardin. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, perfect. See you then. That'll keep her up tonight, I said, setting my phone down. Now, help me with these place cards. We spent the next hour writing names in elegant calligraphy, each card containing a hidden message, visible only under the right light. I'd learned the trick from a wedding photographer, invisible ink that appears when exposed to black light. What about this one? Alina held up a group photo from my wedding day. Raylan stood beside me in her maid of honor dress, her hand on Harlan's arm. 2 on the nose? Perfect for the slideshow. I took the photo, scanning it into my laptop. It'll play during dessert, right when the lights dim. The doorbell rang. Harlan wasn't due home for hours. Expecting someone? Alina asked. I checked the security camera feed on my phone. Jonah, right on time. I opened the door to find him holding a bottle of wine. You said you needed my help with something? Come in. I led him to the kitchen, where photos still covered every surface. I'm planning a dinner party. Jonah's eyes swept over the images, understanding dawning on his face. How long have you known? Long enough. I poured him a glass of wine. Question is, how long have you? He took a long sip before answering. I saw them at that new wine bar in Soho 2 months ago. They didn't see me. I've been trying to figure out how to tell you. Well, now you don't have to. I handed him an invitation. I need you there on Saturday. Can you handle that? Handle watching them squirm. He smiled grimly. With pleasure. But Zella, are you sure about this? It's going to burn every bridge. They lit the match first. I gathered the photos into neat piles. Besides, I'm not doing anything except serving dinner and showing some memories. If they react badly, that's on them. Alina cleared her throat. Show him the menu. I pulled out my recipe journal, flipping to the carefully planned courses. First, oysters with pomegranate mignonette. Harlan and Raylan's first secret dinner was at that oyster bar on 8th. Then the pasta they shared in Little Italy when they told me they were working late. Jonah leaned forward, reading. And the dessert. Le Bernardin's signature chocolate dish. I called in a favor from the pastry chef. He's recreating it exactly. You're not just exposing them, Jonah said slowly. You're making them relive every moment, while surrounded by all our closest friends. I closed the journal. They wanted to share meals behind my back. Fine, let's share everything. My phone buzzed again. Harlan, stuck at work, don't wait up. I showed the message to Alina and Jonah. Want to guess where he really is? Alina pulled up Instagram, scrolling through Raylan's stories. There it was, a check-in at a rooftop bar downtown. At least they're consistent, Jonah muttered. I started gathering the photos, tucking them into a folder. Saturday can't come soon enough. Need help with anything else? Jonah stood, straightening his jacket. Just be there, and Jonah. I caught his arm. Sit next to Raylan, make her comfortable, make her talk. He nodded, understanding perfectly. I'll make sure she has plenty to say. After they left, I stood in my kitchen, surrounded by the evidence of years of betrayal. My phone lit up with another text from Harlan. Missing you. Be home soon. I typed back, take your time. I'm busy planning our dinner party. It's going to be unforgettable. And it would be. They had no idea what was coming, but soon they'd taste every bitter bite of their betrayal. I opened my recipe journal again, refining each detail until every course was perfect. Like any good chef, I knew timing was everything. And on Saturday, the timing would be impeccable. The private dining room at Maison Rouge was perfect. Intimate lighting, dark wood panels, and most importantly, a state-of-the-art projection system disguised as vintage wall sconces. I stood in the center, visualizing how everything would unfold. The screen will lower here, I explained to Marcus, the restaurant's manager and an old culinary school friend. During dessert, right? Right after I dim the lights. He gestured to the control panel, and the photos will play automatically. On a loop. Trust me, they won't need to see them twice. I pulled out my tablet, showing him the seating arrangement. I need Harlan and Raylan to sit here and here. Perfect view of the screen, but too far apart to whisper to each other. The door opened, and Sophie, the head chef, walked in carrying a tasting plate. First course sample, as requested. I examined the oysters, arranged in a perfect circle, with pomegranate seeds scattered like drops of blood. These are exactly what I wanted, but can we add just a touch more mignonette? I want it to bite. Like your revenge? Sophie smirked. Girl, when you told me what they did, I wanted to add ghost peppers to their plates. Too obvious. I adjusted a pomegranate seed with my fork. This needs to be subtle, elegant, like a slow poison. Speaking of poison, Marcus said, your husband called earlier to confirm the reservation. Asked if he could bring a bottle of wine. I laughed. Let me guess, a 2015 Bordeaux? How did you know? It's Raylan's favorite. She probably suggested it, thinking she was being helpful. I took a bite of the oyster. Perfect. Now show me the main course. Sophie disappeared into the kitchen, returning with a plate of handmade pasta in a dark truffle sauce. This is the exact recipe from Giorgio's in Little Italy. Took some convincing, but the old man finally shared his secrets. I twirled the pasta, remembering how I'd found the receipt from Giorgio's in Harlan's jacket pocket months ago. They shared this dish every Wednesday night, claiming they were working late. Want to know something interesting? Sophie leaned in. They were here last week, ordered the same pasta. My hand tightened around the fork. Did they look happy? They looked guilty. Marcus cut in. Kept checking their phones, jumping every time the door opened. Good, they should be nervous. I pulled out my phone, showing them the dessert photo from Le Bernardin. Can you recreate this exactly? Sophie studied the image. The chocolate work will be tricky, but yes. Want me to add anything special? Just make it identical. I want them to recognize it immediately. I stood, walking to the wall where the screen would descend. When the dessert arrives, that's when the photos start. Years of their little rendezvous, all their secret moments, played out for everyone to see. Zella, Marcus touched my arm. Are you sure about this? It's going to be brutal. They made their choice. I straightened a place setting. Now they get to own it publicly. My phone buzzed. A text from Raylan. Hey love. Quick question about Saturday. Is it okay if I bring my camera? Would love to capture the evening. She wants to photograph her own downfall. I showed them the message. How poetic. Sophie shook her head. The nerve of some people. I typed back, of course, you know me. Always love having memories to look back on. You're scary good at this, Marcus observed. I learned from the best. I gestured around us. They taught me how to lie with a smile. The kitchen door swung open again, this time revealing a sample of the appetizers. Delicate canapes, topped with caviar and gold leaf. These will be passed around during cocktail hour, Sophie explained. Right before you seat them for dinner. I picked one up, admiring the presentation. Remember to serve the special ones to Harlan and Raylan. The ones with the extra spicy wasabi hidden inside. Don't worry, they'll be marked. Perfect. I checked my watch. I should go. Harlan's cooking dinner tonight, probably trying to ease his conscience. At the door, Marcus caught my arm. Just be prepared. This could get ugly. It already is ugly, I replied. I'm just bringing it into the light. Driving home, I got another text, this time from Jonah. Ran into R at the grocery store. She's wearing the guilt-like perfume. Almost felt sorry for her. Almost. I smiled, typing back. Save your sympathy. She'll need it Saturday. Harlan was in the kitchen when I arrived, stirring something that smelled like his attempt at risotto. Hey, beautiful, where have you been? Just finalizing details for Saturday. I kissed his cheek, tasting the lie in his casual smile. Everything's coming together perfectly. Can't wait, he said, adding too much wine to the risotto. It's been too long since we've had everyone together. I watched him cook, this man who thought he could serve me mediocre risotto and mediocre lies. You're right, it's time everyone was in the same room again. No more secrets. He stirred faster, the rice sticking to the bottom of the pan. No more secrets, he echoed, not meeting my eyes. I smiled, thinking of the menu waiting at Maison Rouge. Each course designed to strip away their pretenses, bite by bitter bite. It's going to be a night to remember. The cocktail hour began exactly as planned. Harlan arrived first, adjusting his tie nervously in the restaurant's mirrored entrance. I watched him through the security feed on my phone, standing in the private dining room. He's here, Marcus announced unnecessarily. And he brought the wine. Let me guess, 2 bottles? 3, actually. 2015, Bordeaux, just like you said. I smoothed my black dress, checking my reflection. Raylan's favorite. He's planning to get her drunk enough to relax. The door opened, and Jonah entered, looking sharp in a navy suit. Ready for the show? Almost. Just waiting for our guest of honor. As if on cue, Raylan walked in, wearing the blue dress from Le Bernardin. She'd styled her hair differently, but the dress was unmistakable. I watched through the feed as she and Harlan carefully maintained their distance, their eyes meeting briefly before darting away. Showtime, I whispered, stepping out into the bar area. Zella, Raylan rushed forward, embracing me, her perfume, the one I'd given her, wrapped around us like a noose. This place is gorgeous. Isn't it? I hugged her back, feeling the tension in her shoulders. That dress looks even better than it did at Le Bernardin. She stiffened slightly, then forced a laugh. Oh, you saw that post? I meant to tell you about that dinner. No secrets between friends, right? I waved over a server with the canapes. Try these. They're specially marked for you and Harlan. The wasabi hit them 3 bites in. Harlan coughed, reaching for his water, while Raylan's eyes watered dramatically. Oh my God, she gasped. That's intense. Is it? I took a regular one, biting into it delicately. Tastes fine to me. More guests arrived. Couples we'd known for years, all part of our tight-knit social circle. I'd seated them strategically, ensuring maximum visibility for what was to come. Shall we move to the dining room? I gestured toward the double doors. Everyone's place cards are set. Harlan found his seat, frowning when he realized how far he was from Raylan. She sat between Jonah and Kate, looking increasingly uncomfortable as Jonah engaged her in conversation. Remember that night at the wine bar in Soho? I heard him ask her quietly. You looked stunning in that red dress. Raylan's hand shook as she reached for her water. I don't recall. Really, it was just 2 months ago. You were there with... The first course arrived, interrupting their conversation. Oysters gleamed under the soft lighting. Pomegranate seeds scattered like accusations across the plates. These look familiar, Harlan commented, trying to sound casual. They should, I replied, loud enough for everyone to hear. They're from that little place on 8th Street. You know the one, right, Raylan? With the amazing happy hour? She dropped her fork. I've never been there. No? I pulled out my phone, scrolling through photos. That's strange, because I have this picture. Before I could show it, servers appeared with the wine. Harlan's Bordeaux being poured into Raylan's glass first. Your favorite, isn't it? I asked innocently. 2015 was such a good year. How did you know it was her favorite? Kate asked, looking between us. Oh, Harlan mentioned it, I said smoothly. Didn't you, honey? He took a large gulp of his wine. Must have. Jonah leaned closer to Raylan. Speaking of wine, that bar in Soho had an amazing selection. What was it you were drinking that night? Something Italian. Raylan's napkin slipped from her lap. As she bent to retrieve it, a small envelope fell from beneath her place card. The first of many I'd hidden around the room. What's this? She opened it, color draining from her face as she read the note inside. Lovely evening at Le Bernardin. The chocolate dessert looked divine, especially with 2 spoons. Her eyes met Harlan's across the table, panic flickering between them. I watched as she subtly shook her head at him, a silent warning. Everything okay? I asked, noting how neither had touched their oysters. The pomegranate mignonette might be a bit strong. Like guilt, it tends to leave a bitter taste. The room had grown quieter, other guests picking up on the tension. Kate was looking between Harlan and Raylan with dawning comprehension, while her husband Marcus whispered something to Jonah. Maybe we should have some music, Harlan suggested desperately. Oh, don't worry, I smiled, nodding to Marcus at the control panel. I have something special planned for later. Raylan's phone buzzed, another part of my plan. She checked it under the table, her face paling further at the message I'd scheduled. A photo of her and Harlan outside her apartment, his hand on the small of her back. More wine, I offered, holding up the bottle she'd recommended to my husband months ago. There's plenty to go around, just like friendship, right? Meant to be shared? The oysters sat untouched, pomegranate seeds bleeding into the ice beneath them. The first course wasn't even over, and already their perfect facades were cracking. I caught Jonah's eye across the table, and he nodded slightly. Time for the next course. The pasta arrived steaming, the rich truffle aroma filling the room. Giorgio's signature dish, perfectly recreated down to the last detail. I watched as recognition flickered across both their faces. This looks exactly like. Raylan started, then caught herself. Like what? Kate asked, twirling her fork. Nothing, Raylan mumbled, staring at her plate. Oh, you mean like the pasta from Giorgio's, I offered helpfully. The little place in Little Italy. They only serve this dish on Wednesday nights, I hear. Harlan's fork clattered against his plate. How did I what, darling? I met his eyes steadily. Know about your favorite Wednesday night spot? The silence that followed was delicious. Around the table, our friends were starting to exchange glances, pieces falling into place. Speaking of Wednesday nights, Jonah chimed in, right on cue. Wasn't that your late meeting night, Harlan? The standing appointment with those clients from Boston. Before Harlan could respond, servers appeared with fresh wine glasses. As they leaned between guests, they discreetly placed more envelopes beside certain plates. Raylan found hers first, a receipt from Giorgio's, dated 3 weeks ago, with her lipstick mark still visible on the napkin I'd retrieved from her purse during our last lunch date. You know what's funny? I continued, taking a deliberate bite of pasta. I always wondered why you came home smelling like truffles after those client meetings. Kate picked up her envelope next, gasping softly as she read its contents. She passed it to her husband, who shook his head in disgust. Zella, Harlan warned, his voice low. What are you doing? Just sharing memories, honey. Isn't that what friends do? I nodded to Marcus, who dimmed the light slightly. The wall behind Harlan and Raylan, illuminated with a photo, them entering Giorgio's together, his hand on her waist. The timestamp showed 8:47 p.m. last Wednesday. Oh my God, someone whispered. Raylan stood abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor. I need some air. But you haven't finished your pasta, I said sweetly. It's your favorite, isn't it? The same dish you two shared every Wednesday while I worked late on my cookbook. This is inappropriate, Harlan started, but Jonah cut him off. You know what's inappropriate? He pulled out his phone. Meeting your best friend's wife at wine bars in Soho. Want to see the pictures I took that night? You knew. Raylan whirled on him, tears streaming down her face. Everyone knew, Kate said quietly. We just couldn't believe you'd do this to Zella. The pasta steamed between us, forgotten. On the wall, the photos continued, a silent documentary of their betrayal. Them leaving her apartment building, sharing dessert at Le Bernardin. Quick kisses in dark corners they thought no one could see. When? I asked, my voice carrying in the hushed room. When did it start? Neither answered. Their silence spoke volumes. Was it that weekend in the Hamptons, 3 summers ago? I gestured to the next photo appearing on the wall. When you thought I was too busy with my camera to notice how close you stood. Harlan pushed his plate away. This is childish, Zella. If you knew, you should have said something privately. Privately? I laughed, the sound sharp as a knife. Like how you privately fucked my best friend. Like how you privately shared meals and wines and secrets while I trusted you both? Raylan sank back into her chair, sobbing quietly now. Jonah didn't move to comfort her. I have to go, she choked out. But dessert hasn't been served yet, I said. It's a special recreation from Le Bernardin. Your favorite chocolate dish, the one you shared 3 nights ago. More photos appeared on the wall, a progression of their relationship told through stolen moments and secret meetings. Our friends watched in horrified fascination. How long have you known? Harlan demanded. Long enough to collect every receipt, every photo, every little breadcrumb you two left behind. I took another bite of pasta. It's amazing what people notice when you're too busy gazing into each other's eyes to see them. I can explain, Raylan tried, but Kate cut her off. Save it. We've all seen enough. The pasta grew cold on their plates, untouched like their excuses. Around the table, years of friendship crumbled like parmesan. The main course will be served soon, I announced, as if this were any normal dinner party. I hope you saved room. It's another of your favorites, the salmon, from that place in Brooklyn where you celebrated your 6-month anniversary last month. Harlan's face went white. How could you possibly know about that? I smiled, raising my glass. Let's just say I'm not the only one who's good at keeping receipts. Right, Jonah? The lights dimmed further as servers cleared the pasta plates. In the semi-darkness, I could see Raylan and Harlan's world collapsing, one course at a time. And we weren't even at dessert yet. The salmon arrived under silver domes, each plate a perfect recreation of their secret anniversary dinner. As servers lifted the covers in unison, more envelopes fluttered onto the table. Hotel receipts this time, from their weekend business trips. You know what I find interesting? I swirled my wine, watching the color catch the light. How you both always ordered room service for 2. Stop this, Harlan pleaded, his facade finally cracking. Just stop. Why? Are you uncomfortable? Imagine how I felt finding these in your jacket pocket. I nodded to Marcus, who projected the hotel bills onto the wall. The champagne charges are particularly fascinating. Kate picked up one of the receipts. The plaza, on my birthday. You said you couldn't come to my party because you were sick, Raylan. I can explain, Raylan whispered, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Please do. Jonah leaned back, arms crossed. Explain how you've been sleeping with your best friend's husband. For how long exactly? The silence stretched like pulled taffy, bitter and dark. 18 months, I answered for them. Since that charity gala, where you both disappeared for an hour. Remember that night, Harlan? You came home with lipstick on your collar. The same shade Raylan's wearing right now. More photos appeared on the wall. Security camera stills from the hotel lobby. Date and timestamps clear as day. Their pathetic attempts at discretion. Entering separately, but always within minutes of each other. Jesus Christ, someone muttered. Did you think no one would notice? I cut into my salmon. Or did you just not care? Raylan's phone buzzed again. Another scheduled message. She didn't even check it this time, just sat there trembling. Check your phone, Ray, I insisted. It might be important. Like that text you sent Harlan last week about missing his touch. Her head snapped up. You hacked my phone? No need. You used my laptop to check your messages last month. Forgot to log out of your email. I smiled. Amateur mistake. The salmon sat untouched on their plates, just like their guilt sat heavy in the air. I trusted you, I continued, my voice steady. Both of you. You were my maid of honor, Raylan. You stood next to me and watched me marry him. Was that when it started? Were you already fucking my husband when you helped me pick out my wedding dress? No, she burst out. It wasn't. We never meant. To get caught? Jonah finished. Because that's the only thing you're really sorry about, isn't it? Harlan stood suddenly, his chair scraping back. This is enough. We're leaving. Sit down, I commanded. And to my satisfaction, he did. We haven't even gotten to the best part yet. More photos appeared, a timeline of their betrayal, them leaving work events early together, secret meetings in coffee shops, quick kisses in parking lots. I have to admit, I continued, you were thorough. Separate credit cards for hotel rooms, different restaurants each week. But you forgot one thing. What's that? Harlan asked, his voice hoarse. I'm a food photographer. I notice details, like how you always ordered the same wine, always split dessert, always sat in dark corners, thinking no one could see you. I gestured to the wall of evidence behind them. But someone always sees. Kate stood up, throwing her napkin down. I can't be here for this. Marcus, her husband nodded, standing with her. We'll send you the gift we were going to bring to your anniversary party next month, Harlan. Though I guess that's canceled now. One by one, other guests began to leave. Each exit, another nail in their social coffin. Wait, Raylan called out desperately. Please, let me explain. Explain what? Kate turned back. How you betrayed someone who loved you. How you smiled in our faces while sleeping with her husband. Save your explanations for your therapist. Soon only Jonah remained with us, watching as Harlan and Raylan sat in stunned silence. You know what the worst part is? I said, finally pushing my plate away. I'm not even angry anymore. I'm just disappointed in how predictable you both are. The cheap hotel rooms, the secret texts, the lies about working late. If you knew, Harlan started, why didn't you just confront us? And miss this dinner, please. I stood, smoothing my dress. Besides, I wanted everyone to see exactly who you are. No more hiding in dark corners. Raylan's phone buzzed one final time. She checked it mechanically, then dropped it like it burned her. What is it? Jonah asked. Screenshots, she whispered, of every message we ever sent each other. I took the liberty of forwarding them to everyone in our contact lists, I announced. They should be receiving them right about now. Their phones began lighting up with notifications, messages from friends, family, colleagues, their carefully constructed world of lies crumbling with each incoming text. Dessert will be served in 5 minutes, I said pleasantly. I hope you saved room. It's a very special recreation from Le Bernardin. The chocolate dessert arrived under spotlights, identical to the one they'd shared at Le Bernardin. The delicate chocolate work caught the light, casting shadows across their stricken faces. Look familiar? I asked, as servers placed the plates before them. The pastry chef was very helpful when I showed him your Instagram post, Raylan. He remembered you two specifically, said you seemed very intimate. Harlan pushed his plate away. I can't do this anymore. But it's your favorite, I insisted. You loved it so much, you went back 3 times last month. Always on Tuesday afternoons. Always when I had my cooking classes. Raylan's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. She finally turned it off, hands shaking. My mother just texted, she whispered. She saw the messages. Oh right, I took a delicate bite of chocolate. I made sure to include your parents in the distribution list, and your boss. He seemed particularly interested in all those sick days you took together. Jonah leaned forward. You know what I don't understand? Why keep coming to group events? Why risk being seen? Because they thought they were smarter than everyone else, I answered for them. They thought their little codes and signals were clever, like how Raylin would always wear red when she wanted to meet up. Harlan's head snapped up. How did you know about that? The same way I knew about the hotel room numbers you'd text her disguised as work addresses, or the way you'd schedule fake client meetings in your shared calendar. The chocolate on their plates began to melt, much like their composure. I have to call my lawyer. Harlan reached for his phone. Already taken care of, I smiled. I sent him quite a comprehensive file this morning. He's dropping you as a client, by the way. Something about moral clauses. Raylin started sobbing again. My job, my reputation. Should have thought about that before sleeping with your best friend's husband. Jonah's voice was ice cold. What did you think would happen? The lights dimmed further, and the projector whirred to life one final time. But instead of photos, a video began playing. Security footage from their various meetups, expertly edited together like a tragic romance movie. I had help from the IT guy at your office, Harlan, I explained. Turns out, he doesn't approve of affairs either, especially since his wife left him for her boss last year. The video showed them entering and leaving hotels, sharing intimate moments in parking lots, all time-stamped and crystal clear. Turn it off, Harlan begged. Why? This is your story. Don't you want to see how it ends? The final clip was from 3 days ago, them arguing outside Raylin's apartment. The audio was clear enough to hear their fight about whether to tell me. You said you were going to leave her. Raylin's voice echoed through the speakers. You promised. I never promised that, Video Harlan replied. I can't. It's complicated. Present-day Raylin stood up so quickly, her chair fell backward. You told me you loved me. He tells that to all his mistresses, I said quietly. Ask his secretary from 2 years ago. Or should I play that footage next? Harlan's face went from red to white. There's no other footage? Of course there is. I've spent months collecting everything. Every lie, every betrayal, every single time you thought you were being careful. I gestured to the screen. This is just the highlight reel. I'll lose everything, Raylin whispered. Funny how consequences work, isn't it? Harlan stood, finally finding his voice. You've made your point, Zella. What do you want? Money? The house? I don't want anything from you, I replied calmly. I just wanted everyone to see the truth. No more secrets, remember. The chocolate desserts sat melting, forgotten symbols of their deceit. On the screen, their past indiscretions played on loop, a monument to their betrayal. My sister's waiting outside, I continued. She'll drive you both home, separately, of course, though I doubt either of you has a home to go to after tonight. Jonah stood straightening his jacket. I'll walk them out, make sure they don't try to spin this into something it's not. As they walked toward the door, broken and exposed, I called out one last time. Oh, and Harlan. The divorce papers are being delivered tomorrow. I took the liberty of copying our entire prenup to the first page. The infidelity clause is highlighted. He stopped, shoulders slumping. You've thought of everything, haven't you? Almost. I picked up my phone, showing them the screen. I'm just trying to decide which photo to use for my statement to the press. Your law firm's PR team is eager to get ahead of the story. They left without another word, their footsteps echoing through the empty restaurant. Jonah returned a few minutes later, sitting beside me. That was, he paused, searching for words. Justified? I suggested, finally allowing myself to smile. Because dessert isn't even the best part. There's more? I pulled out an envelope. The board meeting at his firm tomorrow morning, where these photos will be discussed in great detail. Turns out, sleeping with clients' wives is frowned upon in corporate law. The chocolate desserts remained untouched, melting into pools of dark regret. The morning sun streamed through my studio windows, as I adjusted the lighting for my latest shoot. My phone buzzed. Another news alert about Harlan's law firm. The headlines were getting creative. Top attorney's career melts faster than wedding cake. You're trending again, Alina announced, walking in with coffee. The video from the dinner has over 1 million views. Good. I checked the composition of my shot. How's Raylan doing with her new job search? Not great. Turns out most companies check social media these days. She handed me my coffee. Her parents made her move back home to Connecticut. The studio door opened, and Jonah walked in, carrying a familiar-looking dessert box. Special delivery from Le Bernardin. I laughed. The chocolate thing again. Actually, it's better. He opened the box, revealing an elegant cake. They want you to photograph their new dessert menu. Apparently, your dinner party story impressed the chef. Karma's got a sense of humor, Alina mused. My phone buzzed again. A text from Kate. Just drove past your old house. Moving trucks are there. He's really leaving. Speaking of karma, I showed them the message. The prenup worked exactly as planned. Did you ever think about just confronting them privately? Jonah asked, setting up his laptop. Instead of, destroying them publicly? I adjusted my camera settings. They chose to betray me publicly. Every dinner out, every hotel stay, every lie to our friends. That was their choice. I just made sure everyone saw the whole picture. Speaking of pictures, Alina pulled up a website on her tablet. Raylan's photography business is officially closed. Her clients all canceled after seeing the video. She should have stuck to Instagram filters, I murmured, focusing my lens. The studio door opened again. Marcus and Sophie from the restaurant. You'll never guess who just tried to make a dinner reservation. Marcus grinned. Harlan said he wanted to apologize. What did you tell him? That we're booked solid for the next century. Sophie set down a bag of pastries. Also, we're launching a new special. Called it The Sweet Revenge. It's selling out every night. My phone lit up with another message. From Harlan's law firm. Ms. Wilcox, we'd like to discuss featuring your photography in our rebranding campaign. Our new focus is on integrity and transparency. Now that's ironic. Jonah laughed, reading over my shoulder. Should I take it? I asked, already knowing the answer. Absolutely, Alina said. Charge them triple your usual rate. The morning light caught the lens of my camera, casting prism patterns across the studio wall. Like evidence of betrayal, they formed a perfect timeline of shadows and light. You know what the best part is? I adjusted my tripod. I never raised my voice, never threw anything, never even cried. I just showed everyone who they really were. Through food, Sophie added, which is honestly the most chef thing ever. Through truth, I corrected. The food was just the medium. My phone buzzed one final time. A notification that the divorce was officially filed. No contests, no delays, just Harlan's signature on every page, exactly where it needed to be. So what now? Jonah asked, helping me set up the next shot. Now, I smiled, focusing my lens on the Le Bernardin cake. Now I do what I've always done. Create beautiful things, tell stories through food, and never settle for mediocre love or lukewarm pasta. And the house? Alina asked. Selling it. Already have 3 offers. I checked the light meter. Turns out, people love a good scandal location. The studio filled with morning light and possibility. On my laptop, another email notification popped up. A major publishing house interested in my story. From food photography to private investigation, a recipe for revenge. You're not actually going to write it, are you? Marcus asked. I thought about all the messages I'd received from other women, thanking me for showing them how to reclaim their power without losing their dignity. Maybe. I adjusted the cake's position slightly. But first, I have a dessert menu to shoot. Sophie, can you move that chocolate curl about 2 millimeters to the left? Perfectionist, she teased, but did as asked. I looked through my viewfinder, focusing on the intricate details of the dessert. Like evidence, like truth, like revenge. Sometimes the smallest details made the biggest impact. Ready? I asked my assembled friends. each of whom had played their part in my elaborate dinner theater. They nodded, gathering around to watch me work. Through my lens, the dessert looked perfect, each element in its place, nothing hidden, everything exactly as it should be. I pressed the shutter, capturing the moment in perfect clarity. Like justice, like karma, like the truth, some things just needed the right light to be seen. Perfect shot, Jonas said, looking at the preview. It always was, I replied, already setting up the next one. You just had to know where to look.
The sound of children laughing should have been cheerful, but all I could hear was the ticking time bomb of my mother's expectations. I stood in my niece's backyard, clutching a perfectly wrapped gift box containing the latest Nintendo Switch, knowing it wouldn't be enough. Nothing ever was. I'm Meredith, and I've spent the last 15 years being my family's ATM. Aunt Mary! Zoe came running, her princess dress trailing behind her. You came! She crashed into my legs, and for a moment, everything felt worth it. Her 8th birthday party was in full swing, with balloon animals and face-painting stations dotting the lawn. Wouldn't miss it for the world, sweetheart. I handed her the gift, and her eyes lit up. Before she could tear into it, my brother Cade appeared, looking sharp in clothes I probably paid for. Hey, sis, he said, that familiar gleam in his eye. Mom's looking for you. Of course she was. I'd been dodging her calls all week, ever since she'd dropped hints about Cade's latest temporary setback. I'd prepared for this moment for months, but my hands still trembled as I smoothed down my dress. Zoe, honey, why don't you go show your friends your new face paint? Cade suggested, and she skipped away, the gift forgotten on a nearby table. I spotted Mom by the refreshment table, arranging cupcakes with military precision. Dad hovered nearby, pretending to be absorbed in his phone. Some things never change. Meredith, finally. Mom's voice carried that edge I knew too well. We need to discuss something important. Mom, this is Zoe's party. Can't it wait? It absolutely cannot. She grabbed my elbow, steering me toward the house. Cade's in trouble. I pulled away. When isn't he? This is serious. Her eyes narrowed. The bank's threatening foreclosure on his house. Zoe could lose her home. And there it was, the emotional ammunition she always used. How much? I asked, though I already knew. 75,000. She said it like she was asking to borrow $5. You have that much in savings. I checked your account statement when I was at your house last week. My blood ran cold. You went through my personal papers? Family has no secrets, she declared. Cade needs this. Zoe needs this. I looked across the yard where my niece was getting a butterfly painted on her cheek, blissfully unaware of the adult's drama. What Mom didn't know was that I'd moved my money 3 months ago, after finding her snooping in my home office. I can't help this time, I said firmly. Mom's face darkened. Can't or won't? Both. Everyone! Mom's voice carried across the yard, making heads turn. I need your attention, please. Oh, God, she wouldn't. Our Meredith here, she announced, has decided that her own niece isn't worth helping, that her own brother should lose his home. The party went silent. Even the face painter stopped mid-butterfly. Mom. Cade stepped forward, looking uncomfortable for once. Not here. No. Everyone should know what family means to some people. She was building steam now. After everything we've done for you, Meredith, after all the sacrifices, I felt a calm settle over me, the kind that comes with absolute certainty. What sacrifices, Mom? The college fund you used for Cade's failed restaurant. Or maybe the inheritance from Grandma that mysteriously went to his investment opportunity. Dad finally looked up from his phone. Sophia, perhaps we should— No, Ralph. She needs to understand her responsibility. Mom turned back to me. You will help your brother. You will write that check today. I smiled, and I saw uncertainty flicker in her eyes. No, Mom. I won't. Your account is empty, I finished for her. Has been for months. You taught me well about family having no secrets, so I made sure to protect mine. The silence that followed was deafening. Cade's face had gone pale, and Mom looked like she'd been slapped. In the background, Zoe's laughter floated across the yard, a reminder of innocence in the middle of our adult warfare. You ungrateful, Mom started, but I cut her off. I think it's time for cake, I announced loudly, plastering on a smile. Zoe, sweetie, ready for your birthday song? As children rushed toward the cake table, I caught Dad's eye. He gave me the smallest nod, and for the first time in years, I felt like maybe I wasn't completely alone in this family circus. The war had begun, but at least now I was fighting on my own terms. The party aftermath left a bitter taste that even birthday cake couldn't mask. I sat in my car outside Cade's house, watching the last guests leave, when a tap on my window made me jump. Dad stood there, his weathered face tight with concern. Mind if I join you for a minute? I unlocked the passenger door, and he slid in with a heavy sigh. We sat in silence, watching Mom direct the cleanup effort like a general commanding troops. Remember when Cade crashed my first car? I asked. Dad winced. The blue Toyota. 3 weeks after I bought it, I'd saved for 2 years working at that coffee shop. I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Mom made me give him my insurance money so he could buy his own car instead. Meredith. I was 18, Dad. My first real purchase, and you both acted like I was selfish for being upset. He rubbed his face. We made mistakes. Made? Present tense. You're still making them. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my photos until I found what I wanted. Look at these. Dad squinted at the screen. Credit card statements, loan applications, all with his signature. All for Cade. Mom forged these, I said quietly. I found them when I was helping organize your office last month. His face went ash gray. That's not possible. The bank called me last week. They wanted to verify your signature on Cade's new loan application. Apparently, I'm listed as your financial advisor. I laughed without humor. Funny, since I never agreed to that. A knock on my window made us both jump. Cade stood there, his charm turned up to full wattage. Family meeting inside, he announced. Mom's orders. Dad and I exchanged looks before following Cade into the house. The living room still bore traces of the party, deflating balloons, scattered wrapping paper, the remnants of childhood joy now tainted by adult drama. Sit down, everyone. Mom stood by the fireplace, arms crossed. We need to discuss Meredith's behavior today. My behavior? I remained standing. Let's discuss fraud instead. Cade's head snapped up. What? Show him, Dad. I nodded toward my father. Show him the signatures Mom's been forging. That's ridiculous, Mom scoffed, but her face had lost some color. Ralph, tell her she's being dramatic. Dad stayed silent, studying his hands. Where's Zoe? I asked suddenly. Upstairs, watching her new Switch, Cade replied. Look, sis, about the money. The money you need because you took out a third mortgage, or because of the gambling debts? His face went blank. How did you— I'm an accountant, Cade. Did you think I wouldn't notice the patterns? The late-night casino withdrawals? The payday loans? Mom stepped between us. That's enough! Your brother made some mistakes, but he's family. We support family. No, Mom. You support Cade. The rest of us just pay for it. I turned to my brother. Tell her about the inheritance. Cade, Mom warned, but he was already talking. It wasn't supposed to be permanent, he said quickly. I just needed startup capital for the food truck business, once it took off. That was my inheritance too. I cut in. Grandma left it for both of us. But somehow, the paperwork only had your name when it came time to distribute. Mom's lips pressed into a thin line. Your grandmother understood family loyalty. Did she understand identity theft? I pulled out another document. Because using my social security number to open credit cards is illegal, Mom, even if you're family. The room went deadly quiet. Even the sound of Zoe's video game upstairs seemed muted. You wouldn't, Mom whispered. I already did. My voice shook slightly. The police have copies of everything. They're investigating the fraud. I filed the report last week. Cade collapsed onto the couch. Jesus, Mary. I gave you chances, both of you, so many chances. I looked at each of them in turn. But you took everything. My savings, my inheritance, my credit, my trust. We can fix this, Mom said desperately. As a family. We're not a family, I interrupted. We're a pyramid scheme with Christmas dinner. Dad finally spoke. What do you want, Meredith? I want what's mine. I want my life back. I headed for the door, pausing with my hand on the knob. And I want you all to face what you've done. The police will be in touch. You'll regret this, Mom called after me, when your brother loses everything. He already has everything, Mom. Everything that was mine. I opened the door. Now he gets to learn what earning it feels like. I left them there, surrounded by birthday party debris and the wreckage of their own making. In my rear-view mirror, I watched Dad sink onto the porch steps, head in his hands, while Mom's silhouette paced behind the living room curtains. The truth was out. Now came the storm. 3 days after the birthday party explosion, my phone buzzed with messages I refused to read. Instead, I sat in my lawyer's office, watching Sarah review the stack of documents I'd collected over the years. This is extensive, she said, flipping through another page. Your mother was thorough, I'll give her that. Thorough at stealing from me. I picked up my coffee, now cold. What's the next step? Before Sarah could answer, my phone lit up with Dad's face. 10th call today. You should answer it, Sarah suggested. Document everything. I put the phone on speaker. Hi, Dad. Meredith, please. His voice cracked. Your mother's not eating. Cade's talking about moving across the country with Zoe. We need to talk about this. I'm with my lawyer right now, I said. You're welcome to join us. A long pause. A lawyer? Really? Really? We're discussing the identity theft, the forged signatures, and the misappropriated inheritance. Your Aunt Carol called, he said, changing tactics. She's furious about what this will do to the family name. Sarah raised an eyebrow at me. The family name? I laughed. Tell Aunt Carol to check her credit reports. Mom's been opening cards in her name too. The silence on the other end was deafening. I'll text you the lawyer's address, I said. Come alone, or don't come at all. After hanging up, Sarah leaned forward. Your aunt might want to join the complaint. It would strengthen the case. Trust me, Once Carol starts digging... My phone buzzed again. A text from Cade. Need to see you. Bringing Zoe. Please. Sarah saw my hesitation. Meeting in a public place might be wise. Witnesses. An hour later, I sat at a coffee shop downtown, watching Zoe collar while Cade stirred his fourth sugar into his coffee. You look terrible, I said. He did. His designer clothes were wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes. Mom's losing it, Mary. She burned all her papers last night. Dad had to call the fire department. Destroying evidence is a crime. It's Mom, he emphasized, like that explained everything. Maybe once it did. Aunt Mary, look. Zoe held up her drawing, a family of stick figures. That's you and Daddy and Grandma and Grandpa and me. It's beautiful, sweetheart. I smiled at her, then turned back to Cade. Why are you here? He glanced around before lowering his voice. I need help getting out. Really out this time. Right. I'm serious. He ran a hand through his hair. I found a job in Seattle. Tech company, entry level. It's not much, but you need money to move. I stood up. We're done here. No, wait! He grabbed my wrist. I don't want money. I want to make a statement. About Mom. About everything. I sat back down slowly. What kind of statement? I'll testify. About the fraud, the forgeries, all of it. I kept records too, you know, just in case. Just in case he needed leverage, he meant. Classic Cade. Why should I believe you? He looked at Zoe, still absorbed in her coloring. Because I want her to have at least one parent she can be proud of. Before I could respond, a familiar voice cut through the coffee shop. There you are! Mom stood at our table, face flushed. Several customers turned to stare. Mom, not here, Cade warned, but she was already launching in. Secret meetings now? Plotting against your own mother? She grabbed Zoe's drawing, turning it over. Look at this! A happy family! Is this what you want to destroy, Meredith? Grandma, you're squishing my picture, Zoe said quietly. I stood up again. Mom, leave. Now. Or what? You'll call the police? Go ahead. She was causing a scene now, her voice rising. Tell them how you abandoned your family. Tell them how you... Ma'am? A barista approached. I need to ask you to leave. This is a family matter. Mom. Cade stood too. Stop, please. She turned on him, eyes wild. You too. My own son. Security's on their way, the barista warned. Mom grabbed her purse, hands shaking. You'll regret this, both of you, when the family falls apart. The family's already apart, I said quietly. You broke it. Piece by piece, lie by lie. She left just as security arrived, nearly knocking over a display of travel mugs. The coffee shop slowly returned to its quiet murmur. Cade sat heavily in his chair. I'll do it. Whatever you need. Statements, testimony, everything. I looked at Zoe, who had tears in her eyes. Hey, sweetie, want to get a hot chocolate? She nodded, and I signaled the barista. Okay, Cade, I said finally. Let's talk about Seattle. The pieces were moving now, falling into place like a long-delayed justice. But looking at Zoe's crumpled drawing, I wondered what the real cost would be. The police station's fluorescent lights made everyone look sickly. I sat across from Detective Morris, watching her review Cade's statement. Your brother's testimony is illuminating, she said, closing the folder, especially regarding the gambling debts. I told you there was more to it. Much more. She tapped her pen against the desk. Your mother's been busy. We've identified 7 other victims in the family, including your Aunt Carol. A knock interrupted us. Dad stood in the doorway, looking older than I'd ever seen him. "May I join?" he asked quietly. Detective Morris gestured to the empty chair. Dad sat down, his hands trembling slightly as he pulled out a manila envelope. "I found these in your mother's secret filing cabinet." He spread out documents across the detective's desk. Bank statements, loan applications, credit card bills, all with forged signatures. "Ralph," Detective Morris leaned forward, "you understand this implicates you as well, as a potential co-conspirator?" "I know." He met my eyes. "That's why I'm here, to make it right." My throat tightened. "Dad!" "I was a coward," he said. "I saw what was happening. Watched your mother drain your accounts, steal your inheritance. I told myself it was for family, but—" He wiped his eyes. "I just didn't want to face it." My phone buzzed. A text from Cade. "Mom knows. She's on her way. We need to hurry." I showed the detective the message. "Officers are already stationed outside," she assured me. "Your mother won't—" "Ralph!" Mom's voice echoed through the station. "How dare you!" She burst into the office, mascara streaked down her face. 2 officers followed close behind. "Ma'am, this is a restricted area." "These are my children." She pointed at me. "That ungrateful daughter turned my son against me, and now my husband." "Mrs. Armstrong." Detective Morris stood. "You need to leave, or you'll be arrested." "Arrested?" Mom laughed hysterically. "For protecting my family? For helping my son?" "For fraud," I said quietly. "For theft. For forging documents. Everything I did was for this family." "No." Dad's voice was firm for the first time I could remember. "Everything you did was for Cade, and you used our daughter to do it." Mom's face crumpled. "Ralph, please, we can fix this." "Fix what?" I stood up. "The credit cards you maxed out in my name, the loans you forged, or maybe Aunt Carol's retirement fund you emptied." "Carol?" Mom's voice wavered. "How did you—" "She's here too," Detective Morris said, down the hall, giving her statement. Mom sank into a chair, her designer purse sliding to the floor. "You don't understand. Cade needed consequences," Dad cut in. "Instead, you taught him that money appears magically, that problems disappear if you take from others." "Officers?" Detective Morris nodded, and they stepped forward with handcuffs. "No," Mom whispered. "No, you can't. I'm family. I'm your mother." "Sophia Armstrong, you're under arrest for identity theft, fraud, and financial exploitation," Detective Morris recited. "You have the right to remain silent." I watched them lead her away, her protests fading down the hallway. Dad's hand found mine, squeezing gently. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now." Detective Morris gathered the documents. "We build our case. Your wife's looking at serious charges. Years, potentially." My phone buzzed again. Cade. "Signed the lease in Seattle. Zoe's excited about her new school." "And Cade?" Dad asked, reading over my shoulder. "He's cooperating," I said. "In exchange for immunity, he'll testify about everything." Dad nodded slowly. "Good. It's time we all face the truth." Detective Morris handed me a card. "The victim support group meets Thursdays. Financial abuse in families. It's more common than you'd think." I pocketed the card as we walked out. In the parking lot, Dad stopped by his car. "I listed the house," he said. "Getting my own apartment next month." "Dad, you don't have to—" "Yes, I do." He straightened his shoulders. I enabled her for 30 years, watched her hurt you, hurt others. No more. I hugged him, breathing in the familiar scent of his aftershave. Where will you go? There's a complex near your place. Thought maybe we could have coffee sometimes. Start over? I'd like that. As I drove home, my phone lit up with a photo from Cade, Zoe in front of their new apartment building in Seattle, grinning and holding up a peace sign. Maybe we were all starting over. Different cities, different lives, but maybe something better, something honest. The truth had torn us apart, but perhaps that's what we needed all along. The courthouse loomed before me, all stone and stern angles. 6 months had passed since Mom's arrest, and today was her sentencing hearing. I adjusted my blazer, checking my reflection in the car window. Ready? Aunt Carol appeared beside me, her normally perfect makeup subdued today. As I'll ever be. Inside, the courtroom filled quickly. Family members I hadn't seen in years filtered in. Cousins, uncles, aunts. Some nodded at me, others turned away. The divide was clear. Those Mom had stolen from, and those who thought family loyalty should trump everything. Dad sat in the front row, directly behind the prosecutor's table. I joined him, Aunt Carol on my other side. Cade's flight landed, I whispered. He's on his way. Dad nodded, his knuckles white as he gripped the bench. How's Zoe? Loving Seattle. First grade's going well. The bailiff's voice cut through the murmurs. All rise. Mom entered in handcuffs, wearing a navy dress that hung loose on her frame. Prison hadn't been kind to her. Her eyes found mine, pleading, but I looked away. The judge, a stern-faced woman in her 60s, reviewed the papers before her. Quite the case we have here, the prosecutor stood. Your Honor, the state has documented over 30 instances of fraud, identity theft, and financial exploitation. The defendant systematically targeted her own family members, stealing approximately $847,000 over 12 years. Gasps rippled through the courtroom. Even I hadn't known the total amount. The state recommends 8 years, given the scope and nature of the crimes. Mom's lawyer rose next. Your Honor, my client understands the gravity of her actions. She acted out of maternal instinct, trying to help her son. By stealing from her daughter? The judge interrupted. By draining her sister-in-law's retirement fund? She's willing to make restitution. With what money? Aunt Carol muttered beside me. The judge held up her hand. Before I hear from the defendant, I understand several victims wish to speak. I stood first, walking to the podium. Mom's eyes followed me, brimming with tears. My mother taught me about family, I began, my voice steady. She taught me that love means sacrifice. What she really taught me was that love, in her world, meant control, meant ownership. I gripped the podium tighter. She didn't just steal my money. She stole my trust, my credit score, my future. She stole years of my life that I spent working extra hours, taking side jobs, trying to fill a hole she kept digging deeper. The courtroom door opened, and Cade slipped in, taking a seat in the back. I don't want revenge, I continued. I want justice. I want her to understand that real love doesn't take. It gives. It builds. It doesn't destroy. More victims spoke. Aunt Carol about her emptied retirement account. Cousin Rachel about the student loans taken out in her name. Each story added another brick to the wall of Mom's crimes. Finally, Mom herself stood to speak. My children were everything to me, she began, voice trembling. When Cade needed help, Mrs. Armstrong, the judge cut in, your son didn't need help. According to these records, he was receiving money for gambling, failed business ventures, and luxury purchases. Meanwhile, your daughter was working 60-hour weeks to support herself after you drained her accounts. I was protecting my family! No. The judge's voice hardened. You were stealing from your family. There's a difference. Mom sank back into her chair, shoulders shaking. Given the systematic nature of these crimes, the breach of trust, and the significant impact on multiple victims, the judge continued, I sentence you to 7 years in state prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. You are ordered to pay restitution of $847,000 plus interest. The gavel struck with finality. As officers led Mom away, she called out, Meredith, please, I'm your mother. I stayed seated, Dad's arm around my shoulders, until she was gone. In the courthouse hallway, Cade approached cautiously. Hey, yourself. I studied him. He looked different, cheaper clothes, but somehow more substantial. How's the new job? Tech support's not glamorous, but it's honest work. He shuffled his feet. Listen, I've been seeing a therapist, working through stuff. She thinks Mom might have narcissistic personality disorder. Doesn't excuse what she did. No, he agreed. Nothing does, but I'm learning to recognize the patterns, in her, in me. Dad joined us, his face tired but relieved. Dinner. All of us? I looked at our small group. Dad, Aunt Carol, Cade, me, what remained of our family after the storm. Yeah, I said. Dinner sounds good. As we walked out into the afternoon sun, my phone buzzed with a text from my victim support group. Proud of you. Standing up to family is the hardest battle. They were right. But standing up for yourself? That's how you win the war. 1 year after Mom's sentencing, I sat across from my financial advisor, reviewing the damage report. Your credit score's finally back above 700, Marcus said, sliding a document across his desk. The fraud alerts have been cleared, and the last of the false accounts are closed. What about the restitution payments? He shook his head. Nothing yet. Your mother's prison job pays minimum wage, and most of that goes to basic necessities. My phone lit up with Dad's message. Cade called. You should come over. We're done here, I told Marcus, gathering my papers. Thanks for everything. 20 minutes later, I pulled up to Dad's apartment complex. He'd downsized dramatically after selling the house, but the small one-bedroom suited him. I found him on his balcony, watering his new herb garden. What's the emergency? He pointed to his laptop. Cade's on video chat. My brother's face filled the screen, looking worried. Mary, thank God. We have a problem. When, don't we? It's Mom. She's been writing letters to Zoe. My stomach dropped. What kind of letters? Guilt trips. Telling her how lonely she is, how her family abandoned her. She sent one to Zoe's school yesterday. How did she get the school's address? Aunt Susan, Dad said grimly. She's been helping your mother stay connected with her granddaughter. I cursed under my breath. Aunt Susan had always been Mom's enabler. That's not all, Cade continued. Mom's lawyer is filing an appeal. Says she has new evidence that I coerced her into the fraud scheme. What evidence? Doesn't matter, Dad interrupted. The prosecutor called. They found offshore accounts in your mother's name. Significant amounts. I sat down hard. How much? Close to 2 million. Cade's face went pale. That's impossible. She always said she was broke. That's why she needed... To steal from us? I finished. Looks like she was hoarding money while crying poverty. The prosecutor's adding charges, Dad said. Money laundering, tax evasion. They're investigating Aunt Susan too now. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I opened it and felt my blood freeze. You think you've won. Money isn't everything, dear daughter, but family is. Ask Cade about the real reason he left town. Mom. Cade. I held up my phone. What's she talking about? He went quiet, avoiding the camera. Cade. There might be other loans before I left. Under Dad's name. Dad's watering can clattered to the balcony floor. What? I was desperate. The gambling debts. Some people were making threats. Mom said she'd handle it, but she used Dad's identity again. I finished. How much? 300,000. Dad sank into a chair, head in his hands. The retirement account I couldn't access. That's where it went. I'm sorry. Cade's voice cracked. I'm working with the FBI now, telling them everything. Mom had this whole system, connections with loan sharks, offshore accounts. A sharp knock interrupted us. 2 FBI agents stood at Dad's door, badges out. Ms. Armstrong, we need to speak with you about your mother's financial activities. The next hour was a blur of questions, documents, and revelations. Mom hadn't just stolen from family. She'd been running a sophisticated money laundering operation for years, using family members' identities as covers. We're investigating several of your relatives, Agent Torres explained. Your Aunt Susan appears to be a major player. And the letters to my niece? I asked. Witness intimidation. We'll add it to the charges. After they left, I sat with Dad on his balcony, watching the sunset paint the sky orange. I should have known, he said quietly. 35 years of marriage, and I never really knew her. None of us did. My phone buzzed again, Cade sending a photo. Zoe at her school play, beaming in a princess costume. She's happy, I said, showing Dad, away from all this. Think we'll ever be normal? I thought about the support group meetings, the therapy sessions, the slow rebuilding of trust between those of us left standing. Normal's overrated, I replied. I'll settle for honest. Dad smiled slightly, picking up his fallen watering can. Your herbs are dying, I pointed out. Yeah, well, some things you have to let go of to grow something new. He was right. As the sky darkened and city lights began to twinkle, I felt something shift inside me. Mom's empire of lies was crumbling, taking down everyone who'd helped her build it. But here we were. Dad with his struggling herbs, Cade building a new life, me finally free of financial chains. Sometimes family isn't what you're born into. Sometimes it's what you build from the ashes of what burns down. The federal courthouse was bigger than the state one, all glass and steel reaching into the sky. This time, when I walked in, I wasn't alone. A line of family members stretched down the hallway, all of us victims, all of us witnesses. Ready for round 2? Aunt Carol squeezed my hand. The courtroom filled quickly. Mom sat at the defendant's table in an orange jumpsuit, her hair greying at the roots. Aunt Susan sat beside her, no longer looking like the polished socialite she'd once been. All rise! The federal judge, a sharp-eyed man in his 50s, wasted no time. We're here for the arraignment of additional charges. Money laundering, tax evasion, conspiracy. I tuned out the legal jargon, focusing instead on Mum's face as each charge was read. She didn't look sorry. She looked angry. The prosecutor stood. Your Honor, we've uncovered evidence of a decades-long financial conspiracy. Mrs. Armstrong and her co-conspirator, Susan Walsh, used family members' identities to funnel millions through offshore accounts. Objection! Mom's new lawyer jumped up. My client was merely trying to protect her family's assets. By stealing them? The judge raised an eyebrow. A commotion at the back of the courtroom drew everyone's attention. Cade walked in, followed by 2 FBI agents. Mom's face lit up. Honey, you came! But Cade walked straight to the prosecutor's table, placing a thick folder down. No, Mom whispered. No, you wouldn't. The witness may approach, the judge instructed. Cade took the stand, his voice steady. For years, I thought Mom was helping me, but she was using me, using all of us. The gambling debts, she introduced me to the bookies. The failed businesses, she sabotaged them to keep me dependent. Lies. Mom stood up, shackles rattling. I gave you everything. You gave me nothing, Cade replied. You stole everything. From me, from Meredith, from everyone. And then you taught me to do the same. Order. The judge banged his gavel. Aunt Susan leaned over to whisper something to Mom, but a marshal stepped between them. Mr. Armstrong, the prosecutor continued, tell us about the offshore accounts. Mom set them up years ago. She had contacts in banking, people who helped hide the money. Every time she stole from family, half went to gambling debts, half went offshore. And Ms. Walsh's role? Aunt Susan managed the accounts. She also scouted new victims in the family, gathered personal information during holiday dinners, birthday parties. I thought of all those family gatherings, how Aunt Susan always seemed so interested in everyone's lives. She'd been mining us for data all along. The evidence mounted, bank statements, wire transfers, secret recordings Cade had made. With each revelation, Mom seemed to shrink smaller, her rage replacing with something like fear. Finally, the judge spoke. Given the scope of these new charges, combined with the existing state convictions, I'm denying bail for both defendants. Your Honor, Mom stood again. My granddaughter needs me. My family. Your family, the judge cut in, is here testifying against you. That should tell you something. He shuffled his papers. Trial is set for 3 months from today. Defendants are remanded to custody. As the marshals led Mom and Aunt Susan away, Mom turned to me. Meredith, tell them I did it for you. No, Mom, you did it for yourself. You always did. In the hallway afterward, Cade looked drained. That was brutal, I finished, but necessary. The FBI says she could get 20 years. Good. Dad joined us, holding his phone. That was the forensic accountant. They found more accounts. The total's closer to 4 million now. Jesus, Cade whispered. They'll seize it all, I said. Maybe we'll finally get restitution. Money's not the point anymore, Dad replied. It's about stopping the cycle. My phone buzzed, a video call from Seattle. I answered to find Zoe's face filling the screen. Aunt Mary! Dad! Grandpa! Look! She held up a report card full of A's. I did it all by myself. That's amazing, sweetheart. Cade's entire face softened. Can we get ice cream to celebrate? Sure, but first... Cade took a deep breath. Remember how we talked about Grandma doing bad things? Well, today we helped make sure she can't do them anymore. Zoe nodded solemnly. Is that why she can't send me letters anymore? Exactly. Good. They made me sad anyway. She brightened. Can we get chocolate sprinkles on the ice cream? We all laughed, the tension breaking like a fever. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited with cameras and microphones. But we slipped out the back, heading to Dad's car. Dinner, he suggested. That new place by the river? Perfect, I said, because that's what family really is. Not the ones who steal your future, but the ones who help you build a new one. The autumn breeze carried the scent of coffee as I sat outside my favorite cafe, reviewing the final restitution paperwork. Mom's offshore accounts had yielded enough to repay everyone she'd stolen from, with interest. The federal trial had ended with a 23-year sentence for her and 15 for Aunt Susan. Mind if I join you? I looked up to find Rachel, my cousin, holding 2 fresh lattes. Perfect timing. She sat down, eyeing the papers. So it's really over? Almost. I signed the last document. Just need to file these tomorrow. My phone lit up with Cade's message. Zoe got the lead in the school play. Opening night next week. Coming home for it? Going to Seattle? Rachel asked, reading over my shoulder. Yeah, Dad's coming too. We thought we'd make a weekend of it. Must be nice, having a normal family relationship finally. I laughed. Normal's stretching it. But honest? Yeah, that part's nice. The cafe door chimed, and we both tensed instinctively. But it was just another customer, not Mom's lawyer with more appeals, not another FBI agent with questions. I still flinch, Rachel admitted. Every time my phone rings, every unexpected visitor. The therapist says that'll fade. Eventually. Speaking of therapy, she pulled out her phone, showing me a group chat. Some of us cousins were thinking of starting a support group for family members of white-collar criminals. Bit specific, don't you think? You'd be surprised how many of us are out there. People reached out after the trial went public. Lots of families dealing with this exact thing. I sipped my coffee, considering. What would we do? Share stories, support each other, help people spot the warning signs we all missed. She paused. Maybe even prevent other families from going through what we did. My phone buzzed again. Dad sending a photo of his thriving herb garden, now expanded to tomatoes and peppers. Look at this, I showed Rachel. Remember when Uncle Ralph couldn't keep a cactus alive? People change, she smiled, when you let them. When they want to, I corrected. A notification popped up, an email from the prison. Mom's monthly attempt at contact, right on schedule. I deleted it without reading. Still not talking to her? Nothing to say. I gathered the restitution papers. She had decades to tell the truth. Now she can live with it. Rachel nodded, then brightened. Oh, did you hear about Aunt Susan's daughter? She's working with prosecutors, helping track down other financial fraud rings. Turning poison into medicine? Something like that. We watched people pass by, business professionals, students, families, normal lives untouched by the kind of betrayal we'd survived. I'm buying a house, I said suddenly. The bank approved my loan yesterday. Clean credit score, solid income, everything Mom tried to destroy. That's amazing. Where? That neighborhood by the park. The one Mom always said was beneath our status. Rachel laughed. Perfect. My phone lit up with a video call from Zoe. I answered to find her bouncing with excitement. Aunt Mary, I got my costume. Want to see? Of course. She propped the phone up and twirled in a sparkling dress. I'm playing Annie. Dad says you're coming to opening night. Wouldn't miss it. Is there a song about trust funds in that musical? Mary. Cade's voice came from off-screen, laughing. Just checking. I winked at Zoe. Keep practicing, superstar. After hanging up, Rachel helped me gather my things. Want to grab dinner? The cousins are meeting at that new Thai place. The one Mom would have called questionably authentic. That's the one. I looked at the stack of papers in my bag, the final chapter of Mom's reign over our finances, our choices, our lives. The restitution wouldn't erase what happened, but it marked an ending, and more importantly, a beginning. You know what? I stood up. Let's get really crazy and order the spiciest thing on the menu. Mom would hate that. Exactly. Walking to the restaurant, I felt lighter than I had in years. The autumn air was crisp with possibility, and ahead of me stretched a future unburdened by secrets and schemes. Some people say you can't choose your family, but sometimes, if you're brave enough to face the truth, your real family chooses you. They show up with coffee and understanding, with honest conversations and spicy Thai food, with small victories and new beginnings. And sometimes, they help you build something better from the ruins of what was lost. That's not just karma, that's justice. And it tastes sweeter than any revenge.
The text message from my bank hit me like a punch to the gut. Alert! Account ending in 47 1 balance below $100. That was impossible. I'd saved over $20,000 in that account for my daughter's medical expenses. My name is Jillian, and in that moment, standing in the emergency room where I work as a nurse, I knew exactly what had happened. My mother had struck again. Jill, you okay? Talon touched my shoulder, his concerned face swimming into view. You look like you've seen a ghost. She did it again, I whispered, my hands shaking as I pulled up my banking app. My mother, The words caught in my throat as I stared at the balance. 47.21. Take 5, Talon said, already reaching for my patient charts. I've got your patients covered. I barely made it to the break room before the tears started falling. 5 years of careful saving, gone. Every extra shift, every holiday I'd worked, every penny I'd scraped together for Raylin's future, vanished. My phone rang. Mother, of course. Where is it? I demanded, not bothering with hello. Sweetie, I can explain, she slurred. I had a system. It was foolproof this time. Where's my daughter's money? The cards were hot, baby. I just needed a little more to win it all back. You stole $20,000 from your granddaughter. My voice cracked. A passing colleague glanced through the break room window, and I turned away. Don't be so dramatic, Mother said. I'll win it back. I'm due for a big one. I can feel it. Where are you? The Golden Lotus. But listen, if you could just spot me another 1,000, I hung up and grabbed my keys. Thank God Raylin was at her after-school program. I couldn't face her right now, couldn't tell her that the money for her future medical needs was gone. The Golden Lotus Casino loomed ahead, its gaudy neon signs a beacon for desperate souls like my mother. I found her at a slot machine, cigarette dangling from her lips, surrounded by empty glasses. Mother? She didn't look up. Just one more spin, honey. This one's gonna hit big. I reached over and yanked the power cord from the wall. The machine went dark. Hey, she protested, spinning to face me. Her makeup was smeared, her eyes glassy. I was about to win. You need to come home, now. Don't take that tone with me, young lady. I'm still your mother. Are you? I grabbed her purse, dumping its contents onto the floor. My bank card fell out, along with several cash advance receipts. A mother doesn't steal from her granddaughter's medical fund. Security approached us. Is there a problem here? No problem, I said, snatching up my card. She's leaving. Like hell I am. Mother tried to plug the machine back in. I've got a system. Ma'am, the security guard said, I think it's time to go. Outside, Mother stumbled against me. You're overreacting. I would have paid it back. Like you paid back the $5,000 last year, or the $3,000 before that. I helped her into my car, fury and despair warring in my chest. This was different. This was Raylan's money. That child is perfectly healthy. She has a congenital heart condition. I slammed my hand against the steering wheel. You know this. You were there when the doctor told us she might need surgery someday. Mother waved dismissively. Insurance will cover it. No, it won't. Not all of it. I started the car, my hands trembling. This is the last time, Mother. I mean it. She snorted. You always say that. Because you're living in my house. Because I trusted you. Because... I stopped, a memory suddenly surfacing. Dad's letter, the one he'd left before he died. Something about the house deed. Whatever you're thinking, stop it, Mother said, reading my expression. I'm your mother. You need me. I pulled into our driveway, where Mrs. Peterson from next door was walking Raylan home from the bus stop. My beautiful 5-year-old broke into a run when she saw me. Mommy, Grandma, look what I made in art class today. I caught her in my arms, breathing in her sweet scent, while Mother stumbled past us into the house. Baby, I whispered, holding Raylan tight, how would you like to have a sleepover at Aunt Freya's house tonight? Really? Can I bring Mr. Whiskers? Of course you can. I texted Talon's sister quickly, then helped Raylan pack an overnight bag. Once she was safely with Freya, I had work to do. Dad's letter was in my desk drawer, untouched since his death 2 years ago. I'd been too angry to read it then, too hurt by his abandonment. But now I remembered something he'd said about protecting us from Mother's unfortunate habits. As I pulled out the envelope, Mother's voice drifted down from upstairs, already on the phone with another casino. I unfolded the letter with trembling fingers, and there it was. The key to saving our future. Dad hadn't abandoned us after all. He'd left us a way out. Dad's handwriting was shaky, but his words were clear as day. If your mother ever endangers your future or Raylan's, there's a reconciliation clause in the house deed. She can be removed without her consent under specific conditions. I read the letter 3 times, my hands trembling. All this time, I'd thought Dad had abandoned us, but he'd been protecting us even after death. My phone buzzed. Talon, how are you holding up? I found something, I said. Dad left us a way out. A way out of what? Everything. I heard Mother upstairs, still talking to the casino. Can you meet me for coffee? I need someone to tell me I'm not crazy. 20 minutes later, I slid into a booth at the 24-hour diner across from the hospital. Talon pushed a steaming cup toward me. Okay, spill it. I spread Dad's letter on the table. He knew she'd never stop gambling, so he built in a safety net when he put the house in both our names. Talon leaned forward, reading. Jesus, Jill, this is serious stuff. She stole my daughter's future, I said, my voice cracking. $20,000 gone in what? A few hours? Have you thought this through? Taking her name off the deed means? It means she'll have nowhere to go. I wrapped my hands around the coffee cup, seeking warmth. I know. The waitress stopped by, and we fell silent until she left. Remember last year? I asked. When Raylan had that heart scare? Talon nodded. He'd been there in the ER that night. The doctor said she might need surgery before she's 10. Major surgery, Talon. And now the money's gone. My voice broke. My baby's money is gone. There are other ways. No. I pulled out my phone, showing him the banking app. Look at the withdrawal times. 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. While I was working nights trusting her to watch Raylan, she was stealing from us. Jill? She used my card, Talon. She must have watched me enter the PIN. She planned this. The diner door chimed, and a group of nurses from our shift walked in. They waved, but seemed to sense we needed privacy. "What does your gut tell you?" Talon asked quietly. "That I'm turning into her." I pressed my palms against my eyes. Calculating, manipulative. "Stop." Talon reached across the table, pulling my hands down. "You're protecting your daughter. That's what mothers do. But am I any better? Planning to make her homeless? You know what the difference is?" He tapped Dad's letter. "You're doing this to protect someone. She did what she did to feed an addiction." My phone buzzed again. "Mother, where are you? I need to borrow your car." I texted back. "No, don't be difficult. I need to run to the bank." There's nothing left to take. The typing bubbles appeared and disappeared several times before. "You're just like your father. Never understood the big picture." I turned the phone face down, fighting tears. "Hey," Talon said softly, "what's the next step?" I pulled out a business card I'd been carrying for months. "Dad's old lawyer, Edgar, he's the one who drew up the deed." "Then that's where you start." "I already called. He can see me tomorrow morning." I traced the letter's edge with my finger. Is it wrong that part of me hopes she fights this? That she finally shows some kind of, I don't know, remorse? It's not wrong. Talon squeezed my hand. It's human. My phone buzzed again. This time it was Freya. "Raylan wants to say goodnight. Video call, okay?" Moments later, my daughter's face filled the screen. "Mommy, Aunt Freya let me help make cookies." "That's wonderful, baby." I forced a smile. "Are you being good?" "Uh-huh. Can we do more sleepovers? This is fun." Behind her, Freya gave me a thumbs up. My daughter was safe, loved, and completely unaware of the storm brewing at home. "We'll see, sweetheart. Now get some sleep, okay?" "Okay. Love you, Infinity." "Love you, Infinity +1. After ending the call, I looked at Talon. "I have to do this, don't I?" He nodded slowly. "You know what they say on airplanes? Put your own oxygen mask on first." "Yeah." "This is your oxygen mask, Jill. You can't help anyone if you're drowning." I folded Dad's letter carefully, tucking it away. "The appointment with Edgar is at 9. Want me to come with?" "No." I stood up, gathering my resolve. This is something I need to do alone. As I drove home, Mother's lights were still on. I could hear her through the open window, making promises to someone on the phone, probably another casino's credit department. Tomorrow, I'd start the process of removing her name from the deed. Tomorrow, I'd take the first step toward saving my daughter's future. But tonight, I had one more letter to read. The rest of Dad's goodbye, the part I'd been too angry to face before. Edgar's office smelled like old leather and coffee. He hadn't changed since I'd last seen him at Dad's funeral. Same bow tie, same wire-rimmed glasses, same compassionate eyes. "Your father was a wise man," he said, studying the letter. "He knew this day might come." "Can it be done?" I asked, perched on the edge of my seat. "Can we remove her name?" Edgar pulled out a thick folder. "Your father built in very specific conditions: financial misconduct, endangerment of a minor's well-being, misuse of shared assets." He looked up. "Do you have documentation of the theft?" I placed a manila envelope on his desk. "Bank statements, withdrawal receipts, cash advance slips. She took everything while I was working nights." He examined each document carefully. "And the money was specifically designated for your daughter's medical care?" "Yes. I have letters from Raylan's cardiologist about her condition and potential future procedures." "Good." He made notes on a legal pad. "The fact that she used your card without permission makes this criminal theft, not just a family dispute." My stomach churned. "Will she go to jail?" "Only if you press charges." Edgar leaned back. "The deed modification can proceed without criminal charges, but you should know, she won't go quietly." "What do you mean?" "She'll be served notice. She'll have 30 days to contest the modification. If she does, there will be a hearing. I twisted my hands in my lap. Will I have to testify? Yes, and you'll need to be prepared for what she might say. People facing consequences often lash out. My phone vibrated. Mother again. I ignored it. How long will this take? Best case, 2 months. Worst case if she fights it, 6 months or more. I can't wait that long. I leaned forward. She's still in the house, still asking for money. Last night My phone buzzed again. This time it was Raylan's school. I'm sorry, I said. I have to take this. Mrs. Fox, this is Nurse Sandra. Raylan had a bit of a fall during recess. My heart stopped. Is she okay? Just a scraped knee, but given her condition, we thought you'd want to know. Her heart rate was slightly elevated. I'll be right there. I hung up and looked at Edgar. My daughter, go, he said, already gathering the papers. I'll start the paperwork today. But Jillian? He caught my eye. Once this starts, there's no going back. Are you sure? I thought of the empty bank account, of Raylan's future surgeries, of Mother upstairs making promises to casinos while my daughter slept. I'm sure. The school nurse's office was quiet when I arrived. Raylan sat on the exam table swinging her legs, a Disney princess Band-Aid on her knee. Mommy, she reached for me. I fell, but I was brave. I hugged her tight, checking her pulse out of habit, strong and steady. What happened, baby? I was chasing Marcus and tripped on the playground, but look. She pointed to her knee. Nurse Sandra gave me Ariel. The nurse appeared with an incident report. Her vitals are normal now. We monitored her for 15 minutes just to be safe. I signed the form, trying to keep my hand steady. This was why we needed that money. One fall, one scraped knee, and my world stopped spinning until I knew her heart was okay. Can I go back to class? Raylan asked. We're making solar systems. After confirming she was truly fine, I watched her skip back to class, her backpack bouncing. My phone buzzed yet again. Where have you been? Mother demanded. I need you to come home. The casino manager is being completely unreasonable about my credit line. I'm at Raylan's school. She fell. Oh, she's fine. That child bounces like rubber. Now about the casino. No. The word came out sharp, final. No more casinos, no more money, no more chances. Don't take that tone with me. I raised you better than... Did you? Did you raise me, Mother? Or did I raise myself while you chased jackpots? Silence then. You sound just like your father before he abandoned us. He didn't abandon us. I thought of the letter, of Edgar's office, of all the pieces falling into place. He protected us, and now I'm protecting my daughter. I ended the call and texted Talon. It's done. Lawyer started the paperwork. His reply came quickly. You okay? No, but I will be. Walking back to my car, I saw Raylan through her classroom window. She was holding up a papier-mâché planet, laughing with her friends, her scraped knee already forgotten. She was everything good and pure in my world, everything worth fighting for. My phone rang again. Edgar. The papers are ready, he said. The server will deliver them tomorrow morning. Are you prepared for her reaction? I watched my daughter, safe in her classroom, and felt steel enter my spine. Yes, I said. I'm ready. The server came at 8 a.m. sharp. I watched from my car across the street. Raylan safely dropped at school as Mother answered the door in her bathrobe. Even from here, I could see her face change as she read the papers. My phone started ringing immediately. I let it go to voicemail. You've got some nerve. Her voice crackled through the speaker. I'm your mother. You can't do this to me. 3 more calls, 3 more voicemails. I drove to work, trying to focus on the day ahead. Talon caught me in the locker room. You look like you haven't slept. She was served this morning. I pulled on my scrubs. It's officially started. How'd she take it? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed with a text. Meeting at the community center tonight. Could use your medical expertise. Freya. Your sister needs me at some meeting, I told Talon. Something about medical expertise? Oh, right, the Safe House project. He smiled. You should go, might help take your mind off things. The ER was busy enough to keep me distracted until my shift ended. Mother had called 17 more times. I deleted the voicemails without listening. The community center was lit up when I arrived. Freya met me at the door, clipboard in hand. Thanks for coming, she said, leading me inside. We're trying to set up a medical assistance program for the Safe House residents. Safe House? For women escaping abuse, addiction, bad situations. She gestured to a room full of people. We've got the building, but we need protocols for medical emergencies. I stopped short. Is this about addiction recovery? Partly. Freya touched my arm. Talon told me about your mom, about the money. I thought maybe something good could come from it. What do you mean? The money's gone, right? But what if we could help prevent other families from going through what you did? The meeting started before I could respond. I sat listening to stories of women trapped by addiction, by abuse, by circumstances they couldn't control. Each story felt like a mirror, reflecting pieces of my own life. My phone buzzed. Mother again. This time, I answered. How dare you? She hissed. After everything I've done for you, I'm in a meeting. I whispered, stepping outside. We can talk later. No, we'll talk now. I raised you, fed you, clothed you, and stole from my daughter. My voice was steady. You stole her future. It wasn't stealing. I was going to pay it back. With what money, Mother? The money you don't have? The credit cards that are maxed out? Silence then. I need help. My heart stuttered. In 34 years, I'd never heard those words from her. What kind of help? Money for a lawyer, to fight this ridiculous petition. The hope that had flared died instantly. No, then I'll tell everyone what an ungrateful daughter you are, how you're throwing your own mother out on the street. Inside, Freya was discussing recovery programs. Through the window, I could see women nodding, sharing their stories of hope and healing. You know what, Mother? Tell everyone. Tell them how you stole your granddaughter's medical fund. Tell them how you gambled away her future. Tell them everything. I ended the call and went back inside. Freya was introducing a woman who'd recovered from gambling addiction, who now counseled others. The hardest part, the woman was saying, is admitting you need help. Sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom. After the meeting, Freya caught up with me in the parking lot. What did you think? I looked back at the building. I think I want to help, not just with medical protocols, with everything. Really? Her face lit up. We could use the expertise. And, she hesitated, maybe it would help you too. Healing goes both ways. My phone buzzed with a text from Mother. You'll regret this. I'm calling everyone we know. Freya read it over my shoulder. You okay? Actually, yes. I put the phone away. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. The Safe House needs funding, Freya said carefully. If you wanted, when you get the money back. There is no getting it back. I smiled sadly. But maybe we can stop it from happening to someone else's daughter. Driving home, I passed the Golden Lotus Casino. Mother's favorite haunt was lit up like a carnival, promising riches and delivering ruin. I thought about the women at the meeting, about second chances and rock bottoms. My phone rang again. This time it was Raylan's school. Mrs. Fox, just wanted to let you know Raylan did wonderfully in her presentation today. She taught the class all about the heart. I pulled over, overwhelmed by sudden tears. She said she wants to be a doctor, the teacher continued, to fix hearts like hers. In that moment, I knew with absolute certainty that I was doing the right thing. Not just for Raylan, but maybe, in some twisted way, for Mother too. Sometimes love means making the hardest choices. Sometimes it means being the bad guy to do the right thing. Mother's campaign of revenge started with Aunt Sarah's call. "How could you do this to your own mother?" she demanded. "She's devastated." I was in the hospital break room, 3 hours into a 12-hour shift. "Did she tell you why?" "She said you're trying to make her homeless over a simple misunderstanding about money." Simple misunderstanding? I gripped my phone tighter. "Ask her about the $20,000 she stole from Raylan's medical fund." Silence. Then, "What?" By the time I finished explaining, Aunt Sarah's tone had changed completely. "I'll call you back," she said quietly. The next call came from Uncle Pete, then Cousin Mary, then my mother's best friend, Dorothy. Each time, the same pattern: accusation, explanation, shocked silence. "Your mother's been busy," Talon said, handing me a coffee. "She's calling everyone we know." I showed him my phone. "But it's backfiring. People are finally seeing her for who she is." "Speaking of seeing things," he nodded toward the ER entrance. Mother stood there, swaying slightly, makeup smeared. Security was already moving toward her. "I've got this," I told them, approaching her. "Mother, you can't be here." "My own daughter," she announced loudly, throwing me out like garbage. Patients and staff turned to stare. I took her arm, leading her toward the exit. "You're drunk. Go home." "Home?" She laughed bitterly. "The home you're stealing from me?" "Lower your voice. This is a hospital." "Where's my granddaughter? I want to see Raylan." "Not happening." I pushed through the doors into the parking lot. "Not while you're like this." She grabbed my arm, her nails digging in. "You think you're better than me? You think you can't end up just like me? I'm nothing like you." "No?" She smiled cruelly. "Then why do you check your pulse when you're stressed? Why do you count ceiling tiles when you're anxious? Just like I taught you, just like my mother taught me." I pulled away, my heart racing. She was right. I was doing it now, pressing fingers to my wrist, counting the beats. "Go home, Mother. Sleep it off." "Or what? You'll call the police? Report your own mother?" "If I have to." She staggered back, tears cutting through her mascara. "I gave you everything." "You gave me anxiety, trust issues, and an empty bank account." The words came out before I could stop them. "But you know what? You also gave me the strength to stop you." Back inside, Talon was waiting. "You okay?" "No." I showed him my trembling hands. "She's right. I am like her. All these little habits, these anxious tics." "Stop." He grabbed my shoulders. "Having her habits doesn't make you her. You're breaking the cycle, Jill. That's what matters." My phone buzzed. "Freya. Community center meeting in an hour. We're discussing funding allocation. Coming?" I looked at Talon. "Cover for me?" "Go. Do something good with this mess." The community center was packed. Freya stood at the front, outlining plans for the Safe Houses medical clinic. "We need about $20,000 for basic equipment," she was saying as I slipped in. $20,000, the exact amount Mother had stolen. I raised my hand. What if we had that money? Hypothetically? Freya's eyes widened. "Are you saying, if we get it back, through legal means or restitution, it should go here, help other families break the cycle?" The room burst into discussion. A woman in the back stood up. "I lost my house to my husband's gambling," she said. "My kids lost their college funds. A place like this, it could have saved us years of pain." Others shared similar stories. Each one felt like a piece of my own story, reflected back at me. My phone buzzed. "Edgar, your mother's lawyer contacted me. She wants to negotiate." I stepped out to call him back. What kind of negotiation? She's offering to repay the money in exchange for staying on the deed. Where would she get the money? She claims she can borrow it from family. I thought of all those phone calls today, all those relatives finally seeing the truth. No, I said, no more enabling, no more chances. Are you sure? It would be faster than court. I'm sure. I watched through the window as Freya drew up plans for the clinic. The money's not the point anymore. This has to end. Back inside, I raised my hand again. I want to volunteer, not just with medical stuff, with everything. Freya beamed. Really? Really? I took a deep breath. Because my mother was wrong about one thing. We're not doomed to repeat our parents' mistakes. We can choose differently. My phone buzzed one last time. Mother. You'll regret this. You're just like me. You'll see. I typed back. No, Mother. I'm choosing to be better. And maybe, someday, you will too. Then I turned off my phone and joined the meeting, ready to turn our family's pain into someone else's healing. The court notice arrived on a Tuesday morning. Mother had filed her formal objection to being removed from the deed, which meant we were heading for a hearing. But that wasn't what shocked me. She's in rehab? I read the letter again, certain I was seeing things. Talon leaned over my shoulder in the break room. Gambling addiction treatment? Voluntarily? Her lawyer says it's proof she's taking steps to reform. I set the paper down. After all these years, all those broken promises, you don't believe her? I don't know what to believe anymore. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. This is Dr. Marcus from New Hope Recovery Center. Your mother Cecilia has listed you as her emergency contact and requested family therapy sessions. I showed Talon the message. Are you gonna go? I can't. I shoved the phone in my pocket. It's just another manipulation. But later that night, as I tucked Raylan into bed, doubt crept in. Mommy? She clutched Mr. Whiskers, her stuffed cat. When is Grandma coming home? I don't know, baby. Is she sick, like my heart is sometimes sick? I sat on the edge of her bed, searching for words. Kind of. She's getting help to get better. Can we visit her, like when you visit me in the hospital? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Dr. Marcus again. Cecilia had a breakthrough in group therapy today. She's asked about you repeatedly. Mommy? Raylan touched my face. You're crying. I wiped my eyes quickly. Just tired, sweetheart. Time for sleep. The next day, I met Freya at the community center. The medical clinic was taking shape, empty rooms slowly filling with donated equipment. Look what came in today, she said, showing me a cardiac monitor. Perfect for basic screenings. Like the one that caught Raylan's condition early. I ran my hand over the machine. How many kids might this save? Speaking of saving people, Freya hesitated. I heard about your mom. New Hope is one of our partner facilities. You knew? She checked in 3 days ago, asked about our family program. I sat heavily in a nearby chair. Is she serious about it? Want to see for yourself? Freya pulled out her tablet, pulling up security footage. This is from yesterday's group session. There was Mother, sitting in a circle of other women. No makeup, no fancy clothes, looking smaller somehow. As I watched, she stood up, hands shaking. My name is Cecilia, she said, voice trembling, and I've lost everything that matters. My granddaughter's medical fund, my daughter's trust, my self-respect. I turned away. Stop, I can't watch this. Jill. Freya touched my shoulder. Recovery is possible. I see it every day. And how many times do they relapse? Some do, but some make it. The difference is usually family support. My phone buzzed. Edgar. The hearing is set for next month. Your mother's lawyer requested a delay for treatment completion. Your call. Freya read the message over my shoulder. What are you going to do? I don't know. I looked around the clinic room. All of this came from pain like mine, from families broken by addiction. And healing, Freya added. Don't forget that part. That evening, I sat with Raylan's photo album. There was Mother holding her as a newborn, beaming with pride. Mother at her 4th birthday, before the gambling got bad. Mother teaching her to make cookies last Christmas, between casino trips. My phone buzzed again. A video message from New Hope. Mother's face filled the screen, bare of makeup, eyes red. Jillian, I don't expect forgiveness. I don't deserve it, but I'm learning things here about why I hurt the people I love. I understand if you never want to see me again, but please know I'm trying, really trying this time. The video ended. I played it again, searching for signs of manipulation, of deceit. Instead, I saw something I'd never seen before, genuine shame. I called Edgar. If I agree to the delay, I said, what happens? She completes the program, demonstrates changed behavior, agrees to conditions for staying on the deed, regular testing, financial monitoring, counseling. And if she relapses, the removal proceeds automatically, no further hearings needed. I thought of Raylan asking about visiting her grandmother, of the cardiac monitor at the clinic, of Mother's tearful video. Okay, I said, draw up the conditions, make them strict. Are you sure? No. I looked at the photo album again. But maybe that's okay. I texted Dr. Marcus. What time are family sessions? The response came quickly. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Cecilia will be thrilled. Don't tell her I'm coming, I wrote back. I need to see for myself if this is real. That night, Raylan found me crying in the kitchen. Is your heart hurting, Mommy? I pulled her into my lap. No, baby. Sometimes hearts just need time to heal. Like Grandma's? Yeah, I whispered, holding her close. Like Grandma's. The New Hope Recovery Center looked more like a small college campus than a rehab facility. I sat in my car for 20 minutes before finding the courage to walk in. You must be Jillian, Dr. Marcus said, extending his hand. Your mother's in the garden. Would you like to observe before joining? Through the window, I saw Mother tending to a small plot of vegetables. Her hands, usually manicured to perfection, were covered in dirt. She looked peaceful. She doesn't know I'm here? No, we thought it best to let you set the pace. Mother looked up then, wiping sweat from her forehead, and saw me. The trowel fell from her hands. Jillian? I stepped into the garden. Up close, I could see the changes more clearly. No makeup, gray showing in her roots, worry lines around her eyes. The tomatoes need water, I said, not knowing what else to say. Yes. She reached for the watering can with trembling hands. Would you like to help? We worked in silence, watering the plants, pulling weeds. Finally, she spoke. I didn't think you'd come. Neither did I. She stopped, took a deep breath. No excuses, no justifications. That's what we learn here. Just truth. And what's the truth, Mother? That I destroyed everything good in my life, that I hurt my granddaughter, that I betrayed my only daughter's trust. Her voice cracked. That I'm terrified of becoming my own mother, but ended up worse than she ever was. I hadn't known that about my grandmother. What do you mean? She was a gambler too, lost everything when I was 12. I swore I'd never. She wiped her eyes. History repeats unless we break the cycle. Dr. Marcus appeared with chairs. Shall we move this to family therapy? In his office, Mother showed me her workbooks, her daily journals, her recovery plan. 6 months clean, she said softly. Longest I've ever gone. The hearing is next week, I reminded her. I know. She met my eyes. Whatever you decide, I'll accept it. Part of recovery is accepting consequences. Dr. Marcus leaned forward. Cecilia, Would you like to share what you wrote in your amends letter? Mother pulled out a worn piece of paper. Dear Jillian and Raylan, stop. I stood up. I need to show you something first. I led her to my car and drove to the community center. Freya was there, supervising the installation of new medical equipment. This is where Raylan's money went, I said, watching Mother's face. Not to the casinos. Here. Mother walked slowly through the clinic room, touching the cardiac monitor, the examination table, the pediatric equipment. A safe house, Freya explained, for families affected by addiction. The medical clinic will help kids like Raylan. Like Raylan? Mother's voice was barely a whisper. Children with heart conditions? Among others, I showed her the intake forms. We're already booked for the first month of screenings. Mother sank into a chair, hands covering her face. I thought, when I stole the money, I thought I could win it back, make it more, give Raylan everything. She doesn't need everything, I said. She needs stability, safety, love. Like I never gave you. But you can start now. I pulled out Edgar's papers. These are the conditions: regular testing, financial oversight, continued therapy. Meet them, and you can stay on the deed. She read through them slowly. And if I relapse? Automatic removal, no appeals. You're giving me another chance? No. I took the papers back. You're earning one. There's a difference. Freya appeared with forms of her own. We also need volunteers, people who understand addiction from both sides. Mother looked at me, then at the forms. You'd trust me here? Not yet, I said honestly, but maybe someday. Back at New Hope, Mother returned to her garden. Will you bring Raylan? When you think I'm ready? One step at a time. I watched her gather her tools. Read your amends letter at the hearing next week. Mean every word. I will. She hesitated. Jillian, thank you. Not for the chance. I haven't earned that yet, but for showing me what real love looks like. What you did with the money, it's beautiful. That night, I showed Raylan pictures of the clinic. This is where your special heart money went, I explained, to help other kids like you. And Grandma's helping too? She's trying to get better first, then maybe. Like when my heart gets better? I hugged her close. Yeah, baby, hearts can heal. It just takes time. My phone buzzed. A message from Mother. Day 185, still clean, still trying, still grateful. For the first time in years, I wrote back, proud of you, keep going. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. Sometimes that's all healing needs, just a start. The hearing room felt smaller than I expected. Mother sat beside her lawyer, hands folded neatly, wearing a simple blue dress instead of her usual flashy outfits. Edgar gave my shoulder a reassuring squeeze. The court will now hear the petition regarding property deed modification. The judge announced, I understand there's been an agreement reached? Edgar stood. Yes, Your Honor. We've prepared conditions for Mrs. Cecilia to remain on the deed, contingent on continued recovery and financial oversight. And the stolen funds? Mother's lawyer spoke up. My client has agreed to repayment through garnished disability payments and supervised work at the Community Center Medical Clinic. The judge turned to Mother. I understand you've prepared a statement? Mother stood, unfolding her amends letter with trembling hands. Your Honor, 6 months ago, I thought rock bottom was losing my home. I was wrong. Rock bottom was seeing my daughter turn my greatest shame into something beautiful. She turned to face me. I stole from my granddaughter's medical fund, money saved for her heart condition. But Jillian, she took that pain and built a clinic to help other children. While I was gambling away our future, she was saving others. The judge leaned forward. And your recovery progress? 6 months sober from gambling. Daily therapy. Working the program. Mother pulled out her sobriety chips. I can't undo what I did, but I can spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of my daughter's example. The judge reviewed the conditions. These terms are strict. One relapse and you lose everything. I understand. Mother's voice was steady. It's more than I deserve. Very well. The judge signed the papers. Petition approved with conditions. Court adjourned. Outside, Mother turned to me. Thank you for coming today. I didn't do it for you, I said. I did it for Raylan and for me. I know, she hesitated. The clinic? When can I start? Freya needs help with intake paperwork, nothing financial. I added quickly. Just filing, scheduling. I'd like that. My phone buzzed. A text from Talon. First patient at the clinic. Get over here. At the community center, a young mother waited with her son. Freya was explaining the cardiac screening process. Just like we did with Raylan, I told the nervous boy. Want to see your heart on the screen? Mother stood in the doorway, watching. When the boy's heartbeat filled the room, her eyes welled up. That sound, she whispered, like Raylan's first ultrasound. Come help, I said impulsively. You can hand me the equipment. We worked together, showing the boy and his mother the heart chambers, explaining the tests. When we found a minor murmur, Mother's organizational skills kicked in, efficiently scheduling follow-ups and specialist referrals. You're good at this, I said afterward. It feels right. She straightened the intake forms. Like maybe all those years of chaos led to something meaningful. Mom! Raylan's voice echoed through the clinic. She ran in with Talon, stopping short when she saw Mother. Grandma? Mother knelt down. Hi, sweetheart. I've missed you. Raylan looked at me questioningly. I nodded. Want to see where I work now? Mother asked. I'm helping other kids like you. Can I see the heart machine again? We showed her the equipment, Mother explaining each piece with newfound knowledge. When Raylan's own heartbeat filled the room, strong and steady, Mother squeezed my hand. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up on either of us. Later that night, after Raylan was asleep, I found a letter in my bag. Dear Jillian, today wasn't an ending. It was a beginning. Every day, I'll work to earn back what I destroyed. Not just money or trust, but our family's heart. When you turned my shame into healing for others, you taught me what real strength looks like. I'm learning from you now, daughter, and I'm so proud of the mother you've become. All my love and all my gratitude, Mom, I texted her, one day at a time. Her reply came quickly. That's all I ask. See you at the clinic tomorrow? Yes, I wrote back. We have 6 new patients. I'll bring coffee. And Jillian, thank you for showing me how to break the cycle. I looked in on Raylan, sleeping peacefully with Mr. Whiskers. Her heart monitor blinked steadily on the nightstand, a reminder of both our challenges and our strength. Tomorrow we'd help more families at the clinic. Tomorrow Mother would continue earning back trust. Tomorrow Raylan would see her grandmother choosing recovery over chaos. But tonight I simply listened to my daughter's heartbeat and felt my own heart healing, one steady beat at a time. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in winning the battle, but in transforming it into something that helps others win theirs. That's what real healing looks like. That's what breaking the cycle means. That's what love can do when we're brave enough to let it. The morning my world imploded smelled like French roast and betrayal. I was wiping down the espresso machine when I found the first receipt, a crumpled slip of paper that would unravel everything I'd spent the last 3 years building. $47,000 at Bergdorf's, Emily's signature, my business account. My hands trembled as I smoothed the paper on the counter. The early morning sunlight streaming through the cafe windows felt too bright, too harsh. This had to be a mistake. Emily wouldn't, she couldn't. But there were more, so many more. I trusted her to handle the books while I focused on growing our little coffee shop into something special. "You're the creative one, Lauren," she'd said, laughing over wine just last week. "Let me deal with the boring numbers stuff." The stack of statements spread across the counter told a different story. Designer clothes, first-class flights, five-star hotels, all carefully hidden beneath legitimate business expenses, draining my dream dry one swipe at a time. The bell above the door chimed. "Morning, boss," Desiree called out, hanging up her coat. She must have read something in my face because her smile vanished. "Lauren, what's wrong?" I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up around the betrayal lodged there. Instead, I just pushed the pile of papers toward her. "Oh my God," she whispered, flipping through them. "Oh my God, how much?" "Everything," I managed. She took everything. The morning regulars would start arriving soon. The lawyers from the firm down the block, the nurses getting off night shift, the college students cramming for early classes. They'd want their lattes and scones and that perfect little boost to start their day. They had no idea their favorite neighborhood cafe was drowning in debt. My phone buzzed. Emily's face lit up the screen. A selfie of us from opening day. Champagne glasses raised in celebration. I let it go to voicemail. "Have you called the police?" Desiree asked. I shook my head. She covered her tracks too well, made everything look legitimate. I signed off on reports without checking because I trusted her. My laugh came out bitter as burnt coffee. God, I'm such an idiot. "You're not an idiot. She's your best friend. Was your best friend," Desiree corrected herself. Best friend. The words tasted like ash. Emily and I had met in college, sharing dreams over cheap wine and cheaper ramen. When I'd finally scraped together enough for a down payment on this place, she'd been the first person I called. We'd painted these walls together, argued over chair colors, celebrated every tiny milestone. Now she was gone, along with my savings, my business account, and any chance of keeping this place afloat. The phone buzzed again, this time a text. "Lauren, I can explain everything. Please don't do anything rash. Meet me at Riverside Park at noon. I have a plan to fix this." "Delete it," Desiree said firmly. "Whatever excuse she's got, whatever she's planning, it's not worth hearing." She was right. I knew she was right. But my finger hovered over the message. The morning rush started trickling in. I plastered on a smile, made small talk over steaming milk and grinding beans. Every transaction felt like a mockery. These people believed in my little cafe enough to make it part of their daily routine. Emily had made me break that trust without even knowing it. By 11, my decision was made. I grabbed my coat. "Lauren, don't," Desiree pleaded. "At least let me come with you." "I need to hear her say it," I said. "Need to watch her face when she explains how she could do this to me." "Be careful. People who can betray you once will do it again," I finished. "Yeah, I'm counting on it." The cafe door closed behind me with a cheerful jingle that felt like a lie. Emily thought she was calling me to Riverside Park to manipulate me one last time. She thought she knew exactly how this would play out. My anger, her tears, some elaborate story about circumstances and intentions. But she taught me one valuable lesson. Never show your whole hand at once. I pulled out my phone and dialed the number I'd found buried in those bank statements, the one connected to suspicious transfers and late-night calls. "Zane, it's Lauren. We need to talk about Emily Cooper." The game she'd started was about to change, and this time I'd be the one writing the rules. The debt collection notices hit my doorstep like fallen leaves, a steady, suffocating pile of consequences. I'd spent the night sorting through them, each envelope another nail in my cafe's coffin. Credit cards maxed. Supplier payments bounced. Even my personal account had been drained to cover the hemorrhaging business expenses. Emily hadn't shown at Riverside Park. Of course she hadn't. My phone lit up. Desiree again. I'd ignored her last 3 calls, but this time I picked up. "I'm outside your apartment," she said before I could speak, "with coffee and those almond croissants you stress eat. Open up." I considered pretending I wasn't home, but the thought of facing another hour alone with these papers made my chest tight. Doors unlocked. Desiree took one look at my living room floor, now a sea of red-stamped notices, and set the coffee down. "Okay, this is intervention time. When's the last time you slept?" "Sleep's not gonna fix this." I grabbed a croissant anyway, the buttery layers dissolving on my tongue. "Did you know she took out a second mortgage on the cafe? Without my knowledge, I don't even know how that's possible." "It's not. That's straight up fraud." "Try proving it. Every document has my signature. Perfect forgeries." I laughed, the sound scratching my throat. She even got my habit of dotting I's with little circles. Desiree settled beside me, her shoulder warm against mine. "What did Zane say?" "That Emily approached him 6 months ago, trying to sell him insider information about my suppliers, recipes, everything. He turned her down, but—" I swallowed hard. "He wasn't the only cafe owner she contacted." "That manipulative bit?" A sharp knock cut her off. We both froze. "Ms. Wagner?" A man's voice. "This is Nathan Morris from Morris & Banks Collections. We need to discuss your outstanding payments." Desiree squeezed my hand. I squeezed back, neither of us breathing. "We have documentation of multiple missed payments. If you don't address this immediately, we'll be forced to pursue legal action." The threat hung in the air like smoke. After what felt like hours, footsteps retreated down the hallway. "They can't take the cafe," Desiree said fiercely. "We won't let them. They can, and they will." I pulled out my phone, showing her the latest email. "Unless I come up with $127,000 by the end of the month." Jesus! She grabbed the phone, scrolling through figures that made my head spin. "Have you talked to Matthew? He's got connections in banking. Maybe he could—" "I'm not dragging your brother into this mess. He'd want to help." "No." The word came out sharper than intended. I can't owe anyone else. Not now." My phone buzzed. An unknown number. The voicemail notification popped up seconds later. "Lauren?" Emily's voice, thick with tears. "Please, I know you hate me right now, but you have to understand. I never meant— Things just got out of control. But I can fix this. I have a way to make everything right. Just check your email. Please." Desiree was already shaking her head. "Delete it. Whatever scheme she's cooking up will probably make things worse." I was already opening my laptop. "Yeah, but I need to know what she's planning." The email loaded. A single document attachment. A contract for the sale of Riverside Cafe to a developer planning to demolish the whole block. "The offer's legitimate," I said numbly. 3 times what the cafe is worth. Enough to clear the debt and then some. "It's blood money," Desiree spat. "She drives you into debt, then conveniently has a buyer lined up. She's probably getting a cut." She was right, but the numbers kept swimming before my eyes. A way out, handed to me by the same person who'd pushed me over the edge. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Zane. "Need to meet. Found something about Emily you should see." I stood up, brushing croissant crumbs from my lap. "I need air and answers." "Lauren?" Desiree's voice was careful. "Whatever you're thinking of doing, I'm thinking it's time to stop reacting and start acting." I grabbed my coat. "Emily wants to play developer? Fine. But first, I need to understand exactly what game she's been running." The collection notice crunched under my feet as I headed for the door. Behind me, Desiree called out, "Just promise me you won't do anything stupid." I didn't answer. After all, stupid would be trusting Emily again. What I had in mind was something much more calculated, and it started with finding out what Zane knew. Zane's cafe was everything mine used to be, bustling, vibrant, alive with possibility. The scent of success hung thick in the air, mingling with artisanal coffee and fresh-baked bread. My stomach clenched as I pushed through the door. He was behind the counter, sleeve tattoos on display as he pulled espresso shots. 10 minutes, he mouthed, gesturing toward an empty table. I sat, fighting the urge to analyze everything: his equipment, his layout, his menu prices. Instead, I watched his customers, trying to ignore the voice in my head calculating how many I'd lost this week alone. Here. A steaming cup appeared in front of me. Your usual, oat milk cappuccino, extra shot. You remember my order? Hard to forget the competition. Zane dropped into the seat across from me, his expression unreadable. Especially when she orders the same thing 3 times a week for months. My hand froze halfway to the cup. Emily came here? Started about 8 months ago. Always during your busy hours, always with her laptop. He slid his phone across the table. Always meeting with this guy. The photo was grainy but clear enough. Emily, head bent close to a man in an expensive suit. Papers spread between them. My chest tightened. I recognized those papers. Our original lease agreement. That's Marcus Reynolds, Zane said. Developer. Been buying up properties all along this strip. The one who made the offer on my cafe. Bingo. He leaned back, arms crossed. Emily's been working with him since before your money troubles started, setting up the perfect distress sale. The cappuccino turned bitter on my tongue. She engineered the whole thing. The theft, the debt. It was all to force me to sell. For pennies on the dollar. Then Reynolds develops the block. Emily gets her commission, and your cafe becomes another overpriced apartment complex. My fingers curled into fists under the table. Why are you telling me this? We're competitors. My failure is your gain. Something flickered across Zane's face. Anger? Hurt? Reynolds approached me too, offered to buy me out for triple market value. But you didn't sell. This place? He gestured around the cafe. It's not just business, it's community, history, something Emily clearly doesn't understand. My phone buzzed. Another text from Emily. The developer needs an answer by Friday. Please, Lauren, this is your best way out. She's wrong, Zane said quietly. There's always another way. Is there? The words came out raw. I'm drowning in debt, hemorrhaging customers, and the only person I trusted. My voice cracked. I looked away, blinking hard. Hey, his hand covered mine, warm and calloused. You've got something Emily never will, people who actually care about this place, your regulars, your staff, hell, even your grumpy competitor next door. A laugh escaped before I could stop it. Grumpy? I prefer discerningly morose. His grin faded. Look, I've got copies of Emily's meetings, timestamps, everything. It won't undo the damage, but it's evidence of conspiracy, enough to maybe press charges. Or an idea started forming, dangerous and tempting. Enough to turn her own game against her. Zane's eyebrows rose. What are you thinking? That Emily's not the only one who can play developer. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through contacts. But I'm going to need help, starting with your evidence and your coffee supplier, the one Emily couldn't convince to work with her. Understanding dawned in his eyes. Lauren, that's playing with fire. Good thing I've got nothing left to burn. I stood up, energy thrumming through my veins. Emily thinks she's got me backed into a corner. Time to show her what that really feels like. Wait. Zane caught my arm as I turned to leave. Whatever you're planning, be careful. Emily's desperate, and desperate people are dangerous, I finished. So am I. She made sure of that. Outside, the street was filling with afternoon crowds. Through Zane's window, I could see him watching me, concern etched on his face. My phone buzzed again, Desiree this time, probably wondering where I'd disappeared to. I ignored it, opening my email instead. Time to send Emily exactly what she was waiting for. You're right. We need to talk. Meet me at the cafe tonight after closing. Just us, like old times. The response came seconds later. Thank you, Lauren. You won't regret this. Oh, but someone would. I just had to make sure it wasn't me. Desiree found me in the cafe's storage room, surrounded by years of receipts and bank statements. The afternoon sun cast long shadows through the window, turning paper edges to gold. You missed our check-in call, she said, closing the door behind her. I was worried. I'm fine. I held up a stack of documents. Just doing some forensic accounting. Right, because that's totally normal behavior. She settled onto a crate of coffee beans. Want to tell me what happened with Zane? I told her everything. Emily's conspiracy with the developer, the staged financial collapse, all of it. With each word, the betrayal felt fresher, sharper. That calculating witch. Desiree's voice shook. We have to go to the police. With what? Everything looks legitimate on paper. I gestured at the mess around us. Emily made sure of that. Then, what's your plan? I hesitated. Desiree had been my rock through this nightmare, but what I was considering, maybe it's better if you don't know. Oh, hell no. She grabbed my arm. You don't get to protect me by shutting me out. Not now. Fine. I met her eyes. I'm going to make Emily think she's won. Sign the papers, act desperate and grateful, then use Zane's evidence to prove she orchestrated the whole thing. That's actually not as crazy as I expected. There's more. I pulled out my phone, showing her the email chain with Emily's developer. While she thinks I'm defeated, I'll be negotiating with other developers, creating a bidding war. Once word gets out about the potential rezoning, understanding dawned on Desiree's face. The property value skyrockets, and Emily's careful plan implodes. She loses her commission, her reputation, her freedom, if we can prove fraud. Desiree's expression hardened. But Lauren, this is dangerous. If she realizes what you're doing, she won't. I stood, pacing between towers of storage boxes. Emily thinks she knows me, the trusting friend, the creative dreamer who never checks the books. She has no idea what I'm capable of. That's what scares me. Desiree's voice was quiet. I've never seen you like this. Like what? Strong? Strategic? Cold? The word hit like a slap. I turned to face her, protest rising, but the concern in her eyes stopped me. Emily betrayed me, I said finally. Tried to destroy everything I've built. What am I supposed to do? Forgive her? No, but maybe remember who you are while you're fighting back. She stood, touching my shoulder. The Lauren I know built this place because she wanted to create something beautiful, not destroy someone else. That Lauren was naive. That Lauren was kind. There's a difference. My phone buzzed. Emily, confirming tonight's meeting. The sight of her name made my stomach clench. I have to do this, I said, even if it changes me. Then let me help, whatever you're planning. No. The word came out sharper than intended. I need you clean in case things go wrong. Besides, I managed a smile. Someone has to keep the cafe running while I play developer. Fine. Desiree pulled me into a fierce hug. But promise me something? What? When Emily shows up tonight, remember the friend she used to be, not because she deserves it, but because you deserve to keep that part of yourself. I didn't answer. Couldn't. Instead, I buried myself back in paperwork, searching for any detail Emily might have missed. Hours later, after Desiree left, I found it, a discrepancy in the timing of transfers, a pattern hidden in plain sight. Emily hadn't been working alone. Someone else had accessed our accounts, someone with banking expertise. My hands shook as I pulled up an old photo on my phone. Emily's birthday last year, all of us celebrating. There in the background, smiling at the camera, Matthew, Desiree's brother, the friend who'd offered to help with my banking troubles. The final piece clicked into place, shattering whatever warmth Desiree's words had stirred. Emily hadn't just betrayed me, she'd built a whole network of deception, using my closest relationships against me. The cafe's front door chimed. Emily's silhouette appeared, right on schedule. Time to show her exactly what her betrayal had created. Emily looked smaller somehow, standing in my cafe's dim evening light. Her designer clothes hung loose, dark circles shadowed her eyes. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Then I remembered Matthew's face in that photo, and my heart hardened. Lauren. Her voice cracked. Thank you for... Sit down. I gestured to the table where we'd planned this cafe's future together. Let's make this quick. She sank into the chair, hands twisting in her lap. I know you're angry. Angry doesn't begin to cover it. I stayed standing, needing the height advantage. Tell me something, Em. When did you recruit Matthew? Before or after you started draining my accounts? The color drained from her face. What? Don't. I slapped the transfer records on the table. His signature's all over these. The timing, the amounts. It had to be someone with banking experience, someone I trusted. Lauren, please. Was it his idea, the whole developer scheme, or did you corrupt him like you corrupt everything you touch? It wasn't like that. She stood abruptly, sending her chair scraping back. Matthew was trying to help. Help steal my life's work? Help save it. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You were drowning, Lauren. Too proud to see it, too stubborn to change. The cafe was failing months before I touched those accounts. The words hit like a physical blow. You're lying. Check the books yourself, the real ones, not the pretty fiction you were showing investors. 3 failed health inspections. Supplier costs skyrocketing. Customer numbers dropping every month. Because you were sabotaging me. Because you refused to adapt. She grabbed a napkin, wiping her eyes. Matthew saw it first. Said if we didn't intervene, you'd lose everything. At least this way, you get something out of it. My hands shook as I snatched up the papers. So this was what? Tough love? Betraying me for my own good? The developer's offer is real, more than this place is worth. You could start fresh, do something new. This is my home. The words exploded out of me. Every recipe, every regular, every morning rush. It's not just business. It's who I am. It's who you were. Emily's voice softened. Lauren, look around. Really look. When's the last time this place was full? When's the last time you paid yourself a real salary? You're holding on to a dream that's already dead. I wanted to scream that she was wrong, but memories flickered unbidden. Empty tables during peak hours, bounced checks I'd hidden from staff, sleepless nights calculating how to make rent. The papers are here. Emily pulled out an envelope. Signed tonight and everything's covered. Debt cleared, fresh start guaranteed. Keep fighting. She shrugged. Well, bankruptcy leaves fewer options. My phone buzzed. Zane, got the proof. Ready when you are. One text and I could destroy her. Expose the conspiracy. Ruin her career. Maybe even send her to jail. The plan I'd spent days crafting waited like a loaded gun. But her words echoed, cutting deeper than any betrayal. A dream that's already dead. You're right, I said quietly. Emily blinked. What? About the cafe struggling. About me being too proud to see it. I sank into the chair across from her. But you're wrong about one thing. What's that? That betrayal was your only option. I pulled out my own envelope. These are letters from regulars, staff, even competitors, people willing to invest, to help restructure, to fight for this place, people who believe in what we built here. Lauren, I could destroy you right now, show everyone what you and Matthew did, but then I'd be just like you, someone who destroys things instead of building them. Her hands trembled as she reached for the letters. I pulled them back. I'm not signing the developer's deal. Instead, I'm offering you a choice. A choice? Help me save this place, legitimately this time. Use your connections, your financial skills, everything you turned against me. Help me rebuild, or I slid Zane's evidence folder across the table. Or I use this, your call. Emily stared at the folder, then at me. In her eyes, I saw the same calculation I'd been wrestling with. Revenge versus redemption, destruction versus creation. Why would you trust me again? She whispered. I don't. But I trust myself enough to try something different. I stood up. You have until morning to decide. Choose carefully. I left her there, surrounded by the wreckage of our friendship and the possibility of its resurrection. Outside, the night air felt clean, new. My phone buzzed again. Desiree this time. I answered, ready to face whatever came next. Sometimes saving a dream meant letting it change. Morning brought rain and Matthew's unexpected silhouette at my door. He stood there dripping, his banker's suit dark with water, looking nothing like the friend who'd offered financial advice over Sunday brunches. Emily told me what happened, he said. I let the silence stretch, remembering all the times he'd sat at my counter, watching me work while he helped balance my books. How many of those numbers had been lies? Aren't you gonna let me in? Depends. Are you here as my friend or Emily's accomplice? He flinched. Lauren, please, just let me explain. I stepped aside, not trusting myself to speak. He moved past me into the cafe, the familiar scent of his cologne now turning my stomach. The developer called this morning, he said, turning to face me. Emily didn't show up to sign the final paperwork. And he's pulling the offer, all of it. Matthew ran a hand through his wet hair. Do you understand what that means? The debt, the mortgage. I understand betrayal just fine. Thanks. Damn it, Lauren, I was trying to help. His composure cracked. You were hemorrhaging money, every month watching you pour more into this place, knowing it was only delaying the inevitable. So you and Emily decided to speed up the process? My laugh felt like broken glass. How generous. We had a plan, a clean exit, money to start fresh. He stepped closer. We can still salvage this. I have other investors. Stop. I held up my hand. Just stop pretending this was about helping me. It is. Why can't you see that? Because real help doesn't come with lies. The words burst out of me. Real friends don't conspire behind your back, manipulate your accounts, push you toward failure to force their solution. And what's your solution? He gestured around the empty cafe. More 60-hour weeks? More credit card debt? More pretending everything's fine while you drown? Before I could answer, the door chimed. Zane walked in, stopping short at the tableau before him. Bad time? Perfect time, I said, not taking my eyes off Matthew. Show him. Zane pulled out his phone, playing a recording. Emily's voice filled the space. Once the property value crashes, we'll control the whole block. Lauren never has to know our part in it. Matthew's face went ash gray. Where did you get that? Turns out Emily's not great at checking for security cameras during her coffee meetings. Zane's voice was casual, but his eyes were hard. Got dozens of these. Really interesting stuff about artificial debt creation, forged signatures, market manipulation. You're bluffing. Want to test that theory? I stepped closer. See how your banking career survives a fraud investigation? Lauren. Matthew's voice cracked. Please, everything I did was for my own good. Yeah, I got that part. I moved to the counter, started my morning coffee routine. The familiar motions steadied my hands. Here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna call your banking friends, restructure my debt, legitimately this time. Then you're going to disappear from my life. Or Zane's evidence goes to the FBI. Steam hissed as I pulled a shot of espresso. Your choice. The silence stretched, broken only by the gurgle of brewing coffee and distant rain. You've changed, Matthew said finally. Yeah, funny how betrayal does that. He reached for his phone, fingers trembling slightly as he dialed. The conversation was brief, technical, final. It's done, he said afterward. The terms will be emailed over. Good, now get out. He paused at the door. For what it's worth, I really did care. I know, that's what makes it worse. After he left, Zane leaned against the counter. You okay? No. I pushed a cup toward him. Oat milk cappuccino, extra shot. But I will be. Lauren? He hesitated. Emily's still out there, and now she's desperate. Let her come. I started prepping for opening, the morning routine grounding me. I'm done playing defense. My phone lit up with a text. Emily, you forced my hand. Hope you're ready for what comes next. I showed it to Zane. His expression darkened. She won't stop, he said. No. I squared my shoulders, facing the rain-streaked windows where the first light of dawn was breaking. But neither will I. The morning crowd would arrive soon, seeking their daily comfort in coffee and routine. They'd find something different today. A owner who'd finally stopped trying to please everyone, who'd learned that sometimes saving what you love means fighting for it. Emily wanted war? Fine. I was just getting started. The cafe windows rattled as thunder rolled overhead. I stood behind my counter, watching Emily through the rain-streaked glass. She wasn't alone. 4 men in suits, Zane murmured from beside me. Developer's muscle, probably. Probably. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. You should go. Like hell. The door chimed. Emily entered first, rain darkening her designer blazer. The men filed in behind her, expensive suits, blank expressions. One carried a briefcase. Closing time, I called out. We're done for the day. Oh, we're just getting started. Emily's smile was razor sharp. The developer's lawyers have some papers for you to sign. Not interested. This isn't a negotiation, Lauren. She nodded to briefcase man, who began spreading documents across my favorite corner table. Your debt restructuring fell through. Funny how quickly banks change their minds when certain irregularities come to light. My hands clenched on the counter. Matthew, of course, his final betrayal. Sign now, Emily continued, and you might salvage enough to start over. Refuse? She shrugged. Well, bankruptcy's such an ugly process. Lightning flashed, casting harsh shadows across her face. In that moment, I barely recognized the woman who'd once been my best friend. You know what's funny? I moved around the counter slowly. I spent days plotting revenge, planning how to hurt you like you hurt me. But standing here now, I gestured around the cafe, my cafe, with its mismatched mugs and worn wooden tables. I just feel sorry for you. Emily's smile faltered. Excuse me? You've never built anything real, never created something from nothing, poured your soul into it, watched it grow. I traced my fingers along a table's edge, remembering countless mornings of coffee and dreams shared here. You only know how to take. I know how to survive, she snapped, something you never learned. No? I reached under the counter, pulled out a thick folder. These are letters from customers, neighbors, other business owners, people pledging support, investments, time. While you were plotting to destroy this place, I was building an army to save it. Cute, but sentiment doesn't pay bills. No, but community investment does. I met her eyes. The cafe's going co-op. 51% owned by the neighborhood, 49% mine. Papers were filed this morning. The color drained from Emily's face. You're lying. Check your phone. The press release should be hitting right about now. On cue, her phone buzzed. She grabbed it, fingers shaking slightly as she read. The suited men shifted uncomfortably. This changes nothing, she said, but her voice wavered. The developer can't touch a community-owned business without public hearings, months of red tape, bad publicity. Zane stepped forward, arms crossed. Really bad publicity. Once those recordings of your conspiracy go public, you wouldn't. Try me. I moved closer, close enough to smell her expensive perfume. You taught me well, Em. Sometimes you have to be willing to burn it all down. Thunder crashed again. In the silence that followed, I heard her breathing quicken. I could fight this, she whispered. You could, but you won't. I softened my voice, because deep down, under all the schemes and betrayals, some part of you remembers who we used to be, what this place meant to both of us. Tears welled in her eyes. Lauren, go home, Emily. It's over. She stared at me for a long moment, something like regret flickering across her face. Then she turned to the suited men. We're done here. They filed out silently, taking their threatening papers with them. Emily paused at the door, rain drumming against the glass behind her. I really did love this place once, she said softly. I know. That's what made it hurt so much. After they left, Zane let out a long breath. Holy shit, you actually did it. We did it. I sagged against the counter, adrenaline draining away. I couldn't have pulled this off without you. Please, this was all you. He bumped my shoulder gently. The Lauren I first met would never have thought of a co-op solution. The Lauren you first met was naive. The Lauren I'm looking at now is unstoppable. Outside, the storm was breaking up, hints of sunset peeking through clouds. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, restructuring, renovations, rebuilding trust. But for now, standing in my cafe with the taste of victory sweet on my tongue, I felt something I hadn't experienced in weeks. Peace. I started making coffee. 2 cappuccinos, extra shots. Some traditions were worth keeping. Some dreams were worth fighting for. The morning rush flowed around me like a river, familiar and strange all at once. Every surface gleamed, fresh paint brightening the walls while keeping their character. The new espresso machine hummed efficiently beside my old faithful one. Progress and tradition, side by side. 2 oat milk lattes for Sarah, Desiree called out, her voice carrying over the buzz of conversation. I watched Sarah, a regular since our first week, grab her drinks from the pickup counter. She paused, taking in the subtle changes. Local art on the walls, the expanded seating area, the community board filled with neighborhood events. It feels the same, she said, catching my eye. But better somehow? That's the idea. The bell chimed. Zane walked in, carrying a box that smelled of freshly baked sourdough. Our weekly bread exchange, his artisanal loaves for my cold brew concentrate, had survived the chaos, evolved into something stronger. Packed house, he noted, sliding the box onto the counter. Always is now. I poured him his usual cappuccino. Funny how community ownership makes people feel invested. Funny how having the right person in charge makes that possible. Heat crept into my cheeks. Before I could respond, Desiree appeared at my elbow. Speaking of being in charge, she handed me an envelope. This came by courier. My name was written in familiar handwriting, Emily's. You don't have to open it, Desiree said quietly. But I did. Some doors needed proper closing. Inside was a single page, a letter of resignation from her position at the development firm, copied to me. And a note. You were right about building things, about creating instead of taking. I'm starting over somewhere new, not asking forgiveness, just wanted you to know. P.S. Check the storage room's loose floorboard. Left something there years ago you should have. Everything okay? Zane asked. Yeah. I tucked the letter away. Watch the front for a minute. The storage room smelled of coffee beans and possibility. I found the loose board easily. How had I never noticed it before? Underneath lay a small notebook, its pages yellow with age, our original business plan. Emily's neat handwriting alongside my messy scrawls, dreams sketched out in coffee-stained margins, and tucked inside a photo, 2 college girls raising champagne glasses, eyes bright with possibility. Found this too. Desiree's voice made me jump. She held up a stack of papers, bank statements, transfer records, hidden behind the cleaning supplies, everything we needed to prove what she and Matthew did. She left us ammunition, I realized, insurance in case her plan failed, or proof she wasn't completely lost. Desiree sat beside me. What are you going to do with it? I looked at the evidence of betrayal, then at the notebook full of shared dreams. Both felt like artifacts from another life. I stood, carrying everything to the industrial sink. The water ran clear and cold as pages dissolved, ink bleeding away, old wounds washing clean. When I returned to the front, the morning rush was easing. Zane had jumped in to help, moving behind the counter like he belonged there. In a way, he did. We all did. Every person who'd chosen to invest in this place, to fight for it, to make it stronger. Hey, he caught my hand as I passed. You good? Better than good. I squeezed his fingers, then let go. Orders needed making. Coffee needed brewing. Life moved forward. I know who I am now. The cafe hummed with energy. Regulars chatting with new faces. Local artists discussing their next showcase. Baristas calling out drinks like poetry. My dream, transformed but not broken. Stronger for being shared. I pulled a perfect shot of espresso, watching the crema swirl like possibilities. The bittersweet scent rose up, familiar as breathing. Some people spend their lives taking things apart. Others learn to build something beautiful from the pieces. I chose to build. The morning sun streamed through our windows, catching on the new sign we'd hung yesterday. Below the cafe's name, smaller letters spelled out our promise to the community. Built together, growing stronger. I smiled, reaching for another cup. There were drinks to make, stories to hear, moments to create. This was just the beginning.